Good morning, we are live. Welcome to the morning show where I drink a cup of coffee and the super chat dictates the topics. So, while everyone seems to file in before we start the show, answer me this, guys. What'd you do this weekend? Did you have a good weekend? Did you spend your time with your family, or did you spend time with us watching some of the live movie chats that we did? Those were a lot of fun, and we're going to definitely do more. This week, it's looking like we're going to do Back to the Future, so if you're a Back to the Future fan like I am, well, then you're going to love it. So, morning to everyone that's telling me good morning. It's a pretty good morning. I've been up early, but you know what? I've been excited to do this thing. People have been asking me, and people have been telling me that our international audience appreciates this the most because it's lunchtime in the UK, and it's differing times around the world. So normally we're here on the East Coast of the United States, and we're only focused on East Coast time. But early in the morning, we hit all kinds of different demographics. So thank you for spending your morning with us, your afternoon, your evening, wherever you are in this part of the world. Hydration break. So, I'm sorry you guys were sick this weekend. Man, a lot of UK listeners in. Sheev, you need a nap, dude. Get some sleep. This week's super high stream. Wow, can't speak. Sorry. This week's High Council will be on Ethan's channel. It's a 3-week rotation. So last week was Jeremy, this week is Ethan, and next week is me. And I have a guest next week for my High Council live stream. I'm not going to tell you his name yet, but everyone has requested him. I reached out to him. He reached out to me, and we're going to make it happen. So get excited because this is a person that you all want to talk to. This is a person that I want to talk to, and it'll definitely elevate the High Councils to a new level. And no, it's not Cecil. So let's talk about what's on the screen in front of you right now. And hello from Russia, and it is not Mike Zero. This is somebody everyone wants to hear me talk to. Not Alex Becker either. But that guy's cool in my book, but I've never really reached out to him. But it's funny, in his video that everyone told us to watch about, how to get more views on your Star Wars stuff, he goes to search something to show that his video comes up the most, and then mine comes up right after his. So I found it cool. I got a little bit of free advertising out of his video. So thank you to Alex Becker, because he's cool in my book, and it helped world-class bullshitters grow. So we got a lot of people from England watching the show, which is cool. I've always wanted to go to England, specifically London. The lady that does the narration for the channel is from England. I think she lives in London herself. So it'd be cool one day to go over there, have a European tour, hang out with all the listeners from that part of the world. We can make it happen. Go to the pub, drink. I like to drink. We'll all get drunk and we'll tell each other stories about Star Wars and shit like that. Oh, wow. India, Hungary, the Netherlands. I think it's going to be a good time when we get there. So let's talk about this Lando Calrissian rumor. So it says Star Wars rumor suggests spoilers will return in episode 9. So who's going to return in episode 9? It's Lando Calrissian. So I'm going to read this. Longtime Star Wars fans have been going through the gauntlet of emotions thanks to Disney and Lucasfilm's The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. The new movie saw the return of the original trilogy's most beloved characters in Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Princess Leia. But the fan favorites have also found heartbreaking ends. For that reason, it seems there wouldn't be any characters left from the originals to carry on the torch. That may not appear to be the case anymore. The now trusted Star Wars Daily News fan site Fanthetrax claims to have sources that have confirmed Billy D. Williams will return in episode 9 to reprise his role as Lando Calrissian. The rumor makes a whole lot of sense given that a few months ago the 81-year-old actor revealed he was training 3 times a week and following a new diet plan. On top of that, Donald Glover recently brought a young Lando to life on the screen in the spin-off Solo, a Star Wars Story, which was a massive bomb, proving that there was indeed a renewed interest in the character. I don't know if I agree with the whole renewed interest in the character. Tell me what you guys think about that. Personally, I think that a Lando return is desperation. It's essentially a way to say, hey guys, original trilogy one more time, because Harrison Ford didn't want to come back, so he's dead. Han Solo. Luke Skywalker wanted to come back for more adventures, but they ruined him. And then Carrie Fisher actually died, which was quite sad. So it's almost like Disney's plan fell apart. And they weren't going to kill Leia. They're on this whole kick about her being this female Queen Jedi thingamabob that everybody likes Princess Leia, but she's not the thing they tried to make her into. Princess Leia was awesome in the original trilogy. She was a badass chick with a rifle, and she was a diplomat, and she knew all kinds of shit. But she couldn't fly the ship, and she couldn't do certain things. So it made her a part of a team, which made the original dynamic of Han, Luke, and Leia that interesting. And I was watching a video yesterday. I wish I remembered the guy's name because I'd love to give him a shout out. But somebody suggested I watch 2 videos over the email. And I watched one. They talked about the group dynamic of Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher, and how they're timeless, and how they appeal to everyone. And I agreed with all that. And then I had a thought that really saddened me. I realized that people nowadays, these critics online, would complain that there's not enough diversity. No matter how good the dynamic is between Han, Luke, and Leia, if that movie came out today, they'd say 3 white people. And that's a problem. We're not really focused on characters or development or motivations. We're focused on the color of people's skin and literally not the content of their characters. So they're so focused on all this other dumb crap that it's just ruining movies and entertainment. That's why channels like this exist to talk about the SJW scourge in entertainment, not because anyone dislikes women or people of color. People dislike bad storytelling for the sake of appealing to a couple people on the internet that are going to praise it. It's like they're trying to use those critics as marketing, but it doesn't work. So Lando coming back is not a good idea for anyone. I don't think that Billy D. Williams has it in him anymore. He's very old. I'm not saying he's not smooth, but what I'm saying is, what would Lando do? Lando doesn't seem like the type of guy that ran off like Han and Luke. So is Lando going to have returned to Cloud City after the Empire was destroyed? If they make him somewhat related to Finn, I will literally throw my drink at the screen and scream. I can't walk out because I got to review it for you guys, but I'll be fucking pissed if that is the case. Lando Calrissian has always been a cool character. I've always appreciated him and respected him. But when Disney controls these characters, they suck. Like, Lando was a punchline in this new one. Everyone's hung up on his pansexuality thanks to assholes like Jonathan Kasdan. And you don't have a necessarily good reason to bring him back outside of we need to make more money because we've already shot ourselves in the foot. And for as much as I always talk about how much the fans respect and care for Lando, I don't think Lando has the same pull as Han and Luke. I'm just going to say he doesn't at all. Even if Lando is your favorite character, you'll admit that Luke Skywalker is the main hero of all the Star Wars films. Even when the prequels are out and it's Anakin's story, it really still is about Luke Skywalker to show the parallel between him and his father and his fall from grace. Some will argue Darth Vader is the main character. I will listen to that argument, and I would love to have that debate on air. But just from a meta standpoint in the movie, as well as like a real-life application, I think Luke is the one that everybody appeals to. I see people talking about vintage Lando figures and stuff like that. Thank you, Emma. I agree, or I'm glad you agree with me that Luke is everything. California is where this SJW nonsense came from and spread outward. There's something in the water the kids are drinking. California is a very bizarre place. I know people say, oh, you're just some hillbilly from Ohio. Well, I'm not a hillbilly from Ohio. Part of Ohio I live in has no farmland. It's a very big metropolitan area. We have millions of people, professional sports teams, an Apple store, everything. I mean, we're not California cool, but Cincinnati is not a backwater town. That's Kentucky. Corey Reeve, good morning and thank you. Good morning to you too, sir. Thank you for that. Yeah, California water supply is turning the cyber frogs gay. It's funny. Somebody linked me to the Alex Jones cyberfrog meme, not cyberfrog, gay frog meme yesterday, and I watched the whole video just out of curiosity. Whew. It was entertaining, but Jesus, that was rough. Alan Hardesty, good morning and thank you. Cecil is love. Cecil is bourbon eggnog. Well, then Cecil is delicious because bourbon eggnog is delicious. I have a new tradition of getting drunk at Christmas, so thank you, bourbon eggnog. I guess I should thank Cecil too. I get it that it doesn't come from all of California. I'm not even going to act like it does. It is a certain elitist group of people out in California. I just don't know what their purpose is. I mean, I guess it's the fact that those people are just, they have a bug up their ass and they have these ideas that they want control, essentially. They want to be able to control the way people think, the way they act. But the rest of the country and the rest of the world has proven that that's not the case. We see that in all forms of entertainment: the comic book backlash, the Star Wars backlash, the impending MCU backlash. Like, I'm working on a lot of videos this week, guys, because we had a great week last week. We've had a great year, a great month. I mean, this has been a really awesome time for world-class bullshitters, and I don't want to, come off as getting lazy, so I'm definitely putting in the extra hours to make this content. And we got a video coming up about this Captain Marvel situation. Thank you, Ryan Johnson sucks. But we got a video on this Captain Marvel situation because the MCU is on a downward spiral, in my opinion. We're coming off the highest of highs with Infinity War. I mean, a movie that appeals to everyone: young, old, black and white, every color in between, gay, straight, no matter who you are, you have a favorite character. Now those characters are going to all be diminished in service of Captain Marvel, who they see as the future. First off, Brie Larson is unlikable. I don't know of anyone that looks to Brie Larson for political advice or life advice. Like, to me, Brie Larson's the chick from 21 Jump Street who could barely act. I know she's been in other stuff. I know she's, I think she's been not Oscar nominated, but she's won awards and stuff. She's an actor's actor, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a fan of hers. I don't necessarily think she's the right choice for Captain Marvel. I think when you have, and in the video I'm going to say this too, but I don't think Black Panther or Spider-Man or any of the new characters should lead the Avengers in the next film. I think in the wake of the Avengers dying, you could have someone step up and take their place. But I think you should do it with a proven character, because Captain Marvel's coming out, March of next year, and then she's jumping right into the Avengers. Black Panther worked because Black Panther appeared in Civil War, which was the culmination of the Captain America trilogy. You had the Iron Man, Captain America blow off. You had all these great things in that movie, and you inserted T'Challa, and it worked. With Captain Marvel, you're basically making her movie and then inserting her into the MCU proper with the other characters, and it's like, huh? I mean, the way they did it with Ant-Man worked. Even though he had his own movie first, like Captain Marvel, Ant-Man didn't steal the spotlight from the other Avengers. The story wasn't about him. The way they're making it sound is it's about him or her. And, I'm just going to speak for myself and the guys on the show, but we don't give a shit about, her character and all this other stuff. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. What's up with the whole Captain Marvel thing? What exactly is going on with the production of this movie that's actually worth worrying about this SJW shit? Well, the thing is, they're marketing it just like Ghostbusters and every other SJW failure movie. Wonder Woman, the people are like, hey, we got a woman director, and then Warner Brothers kind of kept their mouths quiet about that. We didn't hear how Wonder Woman's going to be the most important character in the DCEU and all this other shit. And then the movie came out, and it didn't have any of that identity crap in it because Warner Brothers didn't make it about it. The media did. Kevin Feige's on record of saying this stuff. This isn't just me going, oh, God, here comes a woman in Marvel, because we had Black Widow from the beginning. And I'd much rather watch a Black Widow film than her, Captain Marvel. Same with the women from Black Panther. They had a big part in that film, and not once did I go, oh, these warrior chicks need to step aside for Black Panther. I was just like, they're all fine characters. And the actors who play these characters aren't unlikable douchebags like Brie Larson is. So there you go. That's where you get that stuff. It's not about me just pulling something out of my ass. It's all this past week. We've been hearing about all these things, and they line up to the way Ghostbusters was marketed. So why wouldn't you believe it's going to be the same shitfest? I figure, whatever the reason for all this crap is out there, or whoever is in control of the entertainment, but for whatever the reason is, they figure they got everybody hooked with Marvel and the MCU, so now it's time for that. And I bet you that if this happens this way, you're going to see the biggest decline ever in terms of like a franchise, going from the biggest thing ever to that. Okay, voice of reason. So, okay, there you go. See, I'm not making this stuff up about that. It's just a bunch of articles that have come out. And like I said, Brie Larson, unlikable douche. I wouldn't give a shit Here's the thing: you got somebody like Paul Rudd, who's a very endearing guy, who comes on these talk shows, who's in these movies, plays likable characters. He seems like an all-around nice guy. He doesn't seem abrasive. Then you got somebody like her who does seem unlikable and abrasive, and who really isn't that great in the stuff I've seen her in. Like I said, 21 Jump Street and then King Kong. She's just kind of there. And if they bring that to the MCU, that's the one thing that the MCU's done over Star Wars much better, is they've helped. They brought in a fan base from people from every walk of life. It's never about, they don't shit on their fan base like Star Wars does. And the video I got coming out in a few hours talks about that. And that's why, you have your Pablo Hidalgos of the world denying the failure of the merchandise and the other parts of the brand. And Marvel just doesn't have to deal with that yet. And it makes you wonder why they would do that. Yeah, okay, Frank, you think Bria's more than abrasive. I'm trying to play cool about this now, but when she says some more dumb shit, like the other week, she was bitching about the critics and talking about how, I don't hate white dudes. Well, don't say this shit. Look, people have, from every walk of life, have the same opportunity to be a critic. They just choose not to. It's not that there's some secret society holding black people down or Indian people down or Asian people down from being film critics. It's just, that's not what certain people want to do. What? Mark Bernardin's black. Doesn't he write for the Hollywood Reporter and all this other shit and have a huge voice in the industry? I don't get how, somebody like that is a problem. Maybe if you want to even go further into the example. Okay, Frank, you met her. Oh, okay. Well, you feel free to email me any of these things. I'll never read them on air. But if anybody ever has celebrity stories or insider news, you can always email it to us, and we'll never put your name on it or even share it on air. But if you just want to have a discussion about it, worldclassbs@mail.com, thebestmail.com. Yeah, Paul Rudd does respect his fans. At least I think Paul Rudd does a little more. He just seems so friendly. I don't know. Maybe he's just a great actor, and in person he puts it on too. But I feel like Paul Rudd's the type of dude you could run into in public. But, Paul Rudd, I think you're great in X, Y, and Z. And he'd shake your hand and tell you thanks. And that'd be the end of it. It wouldn't be like, a big deal for him to talk to you. Same thing with The Rock. Good morning to you in Norway as well. Black Widow is a wicked female character. She's cool. You got to have that cool factor. And I've read Captain Marvel comics. Thanks to diversity in comics, you learn a lot about these characters. Carol Manvers is what's-his-face Captain Cumming calls her, and I have a website where you can read free books. So I check these books out for free to make sure that these guys aren't full of shit. And you read the stuff, and you're like, wow, this is a bunch of garbage. Even if you take the phrase SJW, those 3 letters out, it's still a bad comic book, no matter how you want to spin it. Identity politics or not, they're just poorly written stories by people who don't like comic books. Darth Hammer, I'm not going to allow you to use language like that. Remaking the original trilogy? Remaking the original trilogy should never happen. And yes, King KDI The Rock does know how to treat us fans. I'm not saying that Kevin Feige approves of the racist shit Brie Larson is saying, but he hasn't come out to disagree. And I'm pretty sure after she said that, the news of Captain Marvel taking lead of the Avengers came out. So her garbage and then his shit. If he was completely against what she said in public, why would you announce that Captain Marvel is going to take over? You may have another PR disaster on your hands. So this is all calculated. Every word that Kevin Feige puts out there. Now, I'm only saying that if his announcement came after what she said. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. So going off that, though, these people... This PR stuff is very carefully crafted, and it failed with Ghostbusters. And if Marvel's not careful, it'll fail then, because the world is a much different place in terms of entertainment awareness than we were in 2016. People have woken up to the fact that this kind of shit permeates their entertainment, and they just aren't receptive to it. That's why that stuff kind of fails. If Uncle Ethan is starting a comic book publishing company, well, I'm going to throw mine in there too, because I've told you guys on air, and you guys have all been supportive. I got a couple ideas. I'm going to try an Indiegogo too for a comic. I trained for years to be a comic book artist. Nothing really came of it because I worked with people that didn't really want to pay too much, and then this whole Marvel situation came out, and I figure if Marvel's the end game, if that's the top of the mountain, why do I want to climb a mountain and work really hard to get somewhere where it's just a bunch of garbage people, garbage individuals? So that's my situation. But if Kevin or not Kevin, if EVS is doing that, obviously I support him. We'll be talking about it on this channel, and I'm going to throw my hat in that ring and give you guys something that I've been working on story-wise for a while. I'm going to redo all the artwork and make it cool. And if you guys ever need to see any of the artwork I do, I think I'm the Jeff Hicks over on Instagram, so you can check that out. I do draw. Some of those things I've drawn during commentaries, other things I spent a lot of time on. So check it out, and let me know what you guys think. Ocean's 8 was annoying, as well as Jessica Jones Season 2. So I'm assuming you know the behind-the-scenes stuff, Frank Bullitt, and that's cool. For from a non-behind-the-scenes standpoint, I thought Jessica Jones Season 2 was kind of lame because they didn't have a very good villain. I thought the mom was a stupid villain. I hate Patsy. Like, when she was dying, I was just like, yes, please fucking die. Kind of like in episode 8 when Finn was about to die. I was like, yeah, die. Something cool would have happened. But no, Patsy gets superpowers, and it's garbage. After she shoots Jessica Jones' mom, like, that do characters written by these progressive people, this kind of shit, this SJW Marvel characters never have any repercussions for the terrible things they do. That makes the characters more interesting when they do bad things and they have to redeem themselves. I just don't see that ever happening with this stuff. Well, Voice of Reason, if you want to contact us with that stuff, that would be a little later down the road, but don't ever lose it. I don't really know the business aspect or how things work, or I can't commit to drawing stuff for people, but just keep your ideas. You never know what's going to happen. I'll continue to talk to Ethan off air, and, it could be a lot of fun. So if you don't go see these SJW movies, you're going to go buy old comics and Xbox games. I think that's a good idea. Old comics are a lot of fun. I have a lot of old comics, especially old Marvel from every era. Spider-Man, I got almost the entire run. I haven't picked up the more modern stuff because fuck Dan Slott. He's not a nice guy at all. See, that's another thing. When you have these creators actively talk shit about fans, even if the stuff he says doesn't affect me at all, I think it's bad business, and I don't want to become a patron of that kind of stuff. When Marvel allows these people to be garbage to any fan, I side with the fans, because Marvel's not putting out content I enjoy in the first place, and secondly, to shit on fans is just really bad. People would bitch to Stan Lee all the time, but Stan Lee, if people wrote a really mean letter to Marvel, Stan Lee would have a funny way to phrase it and, make a joke out of it and keep this positivity rolling. Stan Lee maybe didn't do a lot of the creative work. Maybe it was Jack Kirby and the other guy, Steve Ditko, Dick Ayers, those guys, maybe they deserved more credit because they're not with us anymore. Stan Lee did help build the culture of Marvel, and these new people are just tearing it down. Oh my God, it's terrible. You're finding comfort in Cobra Kai. We did a roundtable discussion over on our Patreon page. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. But Cobra Kai was fantastic. I absolutely loved Cobra Kai. 10 out of 10 for me, and I'm not exaggerating. Do I think Disney will hire a new PR exec to regulate social media or the Twitter posts of Lucasfilm employees? That way there'd be less fan blaming. I don't think Disney wants the situation to change, because that gives them an out. They can place the blame on the fans, and that's what they want, because it's like, oh, the movies aren't bad. They can lie to shareholders. It gives them an out. Was it plausible deniability? They can say, oh, the movies aren't bad. It's the fans that are bad. Look at these people are racist, hateful people that aren't buying our products. We only want this demographic. And a shareholder should say, I don't care who buys it as long as somebody buys it. But that's the world we live in. They're more focused on who buys it, and they want to, control a smaller fan base than just having everybody welcomed in. So I don't know what the situation would be if they did hire those people. Like I said, it was not. I don't think they want stuff like Solo to lose money, but I don't think they're too worried about that. Because here's the thing: their negative fan backlash still keeps Star Wars in the public eye, so it's basically going to give them free marketing for the next 18 months. There's always some kind of Star Wars controversy, but this one was a little sketchy because it essentially took the focus off Solo's massive failure. $80 million. That's how you, if you want to lose $80 million, you just do what Lucasfilm did. Ghetto Bible, good morning and thank you for the super chat. Cobra Kai is how you write characters and diversity. Yes. Here's the thing, guys. If you haven't watched Cobra Kai, the first 2 episodes are free here on YouTube. I'm not sponsored by YouTube Red or any of that shit, so I'm not telling you need to buy a YouTube Red or do it. But if you get a chance to watch it, I strongly suggest you watch it. Now, if your friend has it, if your brother has it or something, watch Cobra Kai, because Cobra Kai has a diverse cast, but not once does it feel heavy-handed or preachy, because the characters in the world, like Johnny makes note of this dumb shit. And it's funny because people say, well, Johnny's still the villain of the story. I think Johnny's the hero of the story. You know, if you've never seen the original Karate Kid, you're missing out. It's a classic. It's on Hulu. And it's also on Amazon Prime. So if you don't own the Blu-ray or DVD and you have those streaming services, go watch it. Fantastic movie. But the villain of that movie is now the hero. And in many ways, the hero is now the villain. It's kind of interesting. But back to your super chat, Ghetto Bible. The diversity is well represented because, like, Johnny first says something to the little kid about being an illegal. And you're like, wow, what a dick. And the kid just kind of blows it off. And then throughout the course of the story, he really likes this kid more than his own son. And then throughout the story, he says shit, and the kid's like, you can't say that. And he just blows him off. And when they go to the school and they try to do this, like, let's do non-binary characters and all this shit, and, like, they just blow it off. They make a joke out of this weird SJW culture many times, and they do it right. I mean, I always say Beverly Hills Cop is one of my favorite movies, but people forget that back in the 80s, you know, you had black actors in these diverse casts that, you know, it was not a problem before. Like in Beverly Hills Cop, you have a diverse cast, and not once is Axel is treated like a minority in a weird way. He's just treated as a capable cop. He's the only person that brings to attention, you know, how can a black man dressed like myself? He uses it as a joke. Cobra Kai uses that shit as a joke too, and it's done really well and really effective. I think Cobra Kai should be the blueprint for how to reboot or continue a franchise more than Star Wars. Yeah, maybe Cobra Kai did it on a smaller scale, but it respected the original characters. It built the universe. It grew interest in the old stuff, and it has a future. Star Wars doesn't have a future. I mean, we're essentially one of the last generations of Star Wars. Yeah, you'll have people like me and Dion, they'll have kids and stuff that they'll talk about Star Wars with their kids, but if their kids aren't into it, what can you do? You can't really force that on them. And I think we're going to be the last generation of passionate people that continue to keep this thing going. And now, instead of keeping it going with our wallets and buying the merchandise and toys, we're going to keep it going because we want the pure form back. And there's no reason we can't have the pure form back. It's just bad decisions that get us where we are. Noah R., a longtime listener. I love you, boys. Nothing goes better with my coffee. Well, thank you, Noah R. I'm glad you still listen to us after all these years. And I do mean years. Folks, when I say this, I mean it. Noah R. is probably our first fan. Pretty sure he watched all of our early stuff, stuck around, has moved on with his life, but still keeps world-class bullshitters around. And I thank you very much for that. Yeah, the franchise is dead when George sold it. I don't like that he sold it, but it happened, and there was a chance that they could have done stuff right. I firmly believe if they would have started with Rogue One, you would have had a much different fan reaction to where we are now, because you already had the built-in hype for Star Wars. You could have introduced new characters in the old world. You had X-Wings, TIE Fighters, Darth Vader. I mean, it's great that people say, oh, Han Solo was back, Luke and Princess Leia were back, but Darth Vader would have done even bigger numbers, I believe, because you have a weak villain in Kylo Ren. There's really no adversity for these characters to face, blah, blah, blah. I've said it 10 times. Darth Vader, on the other hand, you got all the original Darth Vader, James Earl Jones. You could have sold all that shit, and you could have had a bigger reaction. And I know me personally, I wouldn't have gone out or been as angry towards the films. And I don't think the merchandise would have flopped as much because everybody likes Darth Vader. And if you have a whole glut of Darth Vader merchandise coming out, well, people still buy Darth Vader. There are Darth Vader collectors. There aren't Rey collectors and Rose Tico collectors and Finn and Poe Dameron collectors. There are people that have life-size Darth Vaders, every Darth Vader figure, vintage, classic, all that stuff. Darth Vader cars, all that shit. They just made a bad decision in the very beginning. I don't know if the Ryan Johnson trilogy has been canceled. I know Kathleen Kennedy hasn't been officially fired. So when you see articles and videos, actually, when you see videos say titled Kathleen Kennedy fired or Ryan Johnson trilogy canceled, a quick Google search will confirm that that's not the case. And I don't want to take views away from anyone because, you know, it's a struggle out here on YouTube to get people to watch your stuff. But just know that those two things haven't happened yet. And when they do, I will definitely be reporting on it. Trust me. In many ways, I can't wait for it to happen, but we can speculate in the meantime, but nothing has happened yet. No, I do not like The Force Awakens at all. I know Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers really liked it. That's fine. You know, that's the beauty of the High Council. We can have differing opinions on stuff, but we still have a similar idea in where we'd like to see all of entertainment go, and that's why I think the High Council works that way. But I did not like The Force Awakens. I hate that movie with a fucking passion. The Last Jedi somehow made me hate The Force Awakens less, but I hate The Last Jedi more. Okay, put it like this. I didn't hate The Force Awakens less because of The Last Jedi. I just hate The Last Jedi that much more. Therefore, they're both shit movies. I'm never going to act like, I enjoy one over the other. They both suck. It's like, would you rather die or be shot out of a cannon and then die? They both suck because you're going to die. So I fucking hate The Force Awakens, and I apologize. I gave you 20 reasons why. That's one thing about this channel. I may be verbose over certain things, but I always give people reasons why I dislike something. I don't just go, I hate it because I hate it. I can give you reasons why, because I don't feel it's a fair assessment of anything to say, I hate that because I hate it, or that because I said so. That's just not the case. With everything, when I talk about entertainment, food, this, that, and the other, if I don't like it, I have a reason for disliking it. So if you want to hear more of those, you know what's up. American Trent 421, thank you and good morning. A film where the Death Star takes out Lucasfilm headquarters. Yeah. Dude, I'm there 100%. That would be a really funny parody. Maybe Robot Chicken could do it. I don't think Lucasfilm is self-aware, or not self-aware. I don't think Lucasfilm allows itself to be opened up for that kind of joke anymore. If it was George Lucas in control, Lucasfilm, like look at the Robot Chicken stuff. They made fun of Star Wars, but it was well done. Same thing with Family Guy. Star Wars trilogy. All humorous takes on Star Wars kept Star Wars alive. It was good to go. People hadn't done that before to that level. Gray Mage, thank you and good morning. I wonder how much money they need to lose to Wake. Well, if $80 million isn't... We should play a game called The Price is Right Star Wars Edition. And for what price will Star Wars revert back to, the original stuff? We're getting close. If $80 million isn't enough, I guarantee you $150 million will be enough. Because explain that away, Kathleen Kennedy. Explain that away to me. Oh, it's these angry white men that just hate everything, and they're hurting the franchise, and the people are suffering. No, we're suffering. I'm going to say this in the video that comes out in a little bit, but your long-term audience, the ones that have purchased your shit in years where there are no movies, the things that have made Star Wars what it is today, are the ones you're shitting on. It's the worst business decision ever. It's like, remember when, I wasn't even alive for this, so our older listeners will know this, but remember when Coke went to New Coke and everybody bitched, and by the end of the summer, they went back to Coca-Cola Classic, and they kept the words classic on the fucking bottle for like 20 years or 25 years straight? That's what you do when you piss off your audience. You apologize, and you go right back to the thing that made you a classic, no pun intended, in terms of Coke. I'm not saying you have to go back to Luke, Han, and Leia, but you ruined Luke, Han, and Leia. You made them what they weren't. Trying to expand upon them with a modern-day eye does not work. There are characters that exist here. For some reason, they were able to do them right in all the books for 30-plus years, but as soon as they come back on screen, fuck them. Hydration break. So, culture war started brewing in the 90s. I agree. Political correctness really took off in the 90s. And like Mel Brooks said, political correctness is the death of comedy. You can't even make a joke without somebody putting a microscope up your ass about this shit. Leave it alone. If it's funny and it works, it's funny. Sometimes racist jokes don't work, like the Kramer outburst. Not funny. But when other people make jokes, funny. Like Chappelle has made some really like Chappelle and was it season 1 of Chappelle's show? Clayton Bigsby, awesome joke. Racially charged. They wouldn't say that shit today or make that shit today. Somebody asked me about School of Rock over on the Facebook page yesterday. And I thought to myself, I like that movie, but they'd never make it today because people on the internet would write fucking articles about how, him impersonating a teacher and being around kids makes them this and that and all this shit. And I'm like, you can't even make fun movies anymore because you have to worry about censoring yourself on the internet. That's why people need to be afraid when we make it bigger, because we're going to make stuff that appeals to everybody in that primal sense and the classic level, not because we're trying to like milk nostalgia, but because we want to make shit that's funny. And you can find great comedies up until fairly recent. Even like a Step Brothers. I was watching Step Brothers the other night. They will not make Step Brothers nowadays because, like, the part where he goes, "I'm so not a raper" and all that shit. They wouldn't make that joke because they'd worry about triggering people. That's where we are with all entertainment. Like, fuck the one person on the internet will say, "Oh, I was offended." Look, I'm sorry if you had something terrible happen to you, but it's a joke. Will Ferrell didn't do it to you. Let's just enjoy the humor. But we can't have humor. I think humor distracts us from the fucking anger that the people out there want us to have towards each other. Like, they're trying to play Star Wars fans against each other. In reality, it's not working. I mean, I see this channel, the High Council, we're getting tons and tons of people, thousands. I mean, combined, Ethan, Jeremy, and I have like almost 200,000 subscribers, and that's a big audience. You know, if you equate that to one ticket per person and you figure out whatever the average ticket price is, $10, it's a lot of money. That's a chunk to hurt them. I'm not saying that we're organizing to hurt them, but we're an example that people do care about quality of content. So it's important. All right. Kevithar1138. Thank you and good morning. Good morning, everyone. Making world-class bullshitter studio reality. Paying to shill. When is the High Council tonight and what channel? First off, thank you, Kevithar. There is going to be a world-class bullshitter studio. That's really what a lot of the super chat and the stuff is going to. So I don't really like to say, if you could please donate, but that is the cause of what's happening. We're going to do that to make more entertainment. So thank you, Kevithar. The High Council is tonight at 9 o'clock on Ethan's channel. So just once again, if you enjoy the High Council, it will be every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ethan, Jeremy, and I, we discuss off air about this stuff. We love doing it. So we're going to keep doing it every week because it's a lot of fun and, you know, it's just great. But it's going to be on Ethan's channel this week because it rotates. So last week was Jeremy, this week is Ethan, and I am next week on the 26th. And as I said earlier at the top of the show, I have a really big guest. This guy is someone that you've requested. No one can seem to guess him, but he's got a good following. He makes fantastic videos. And when you see who it's going to be, you're all going to shit your pants. So be prepared for the High Council tonight. And then next week, I got a really big guest. And it's not Cecil. It's not a joke. I'm not getting you guys excited for Cecil to go, "Hello, everybody." Like, I like Cecil just fine. Cecil may even show up to talk to this guy, but it is not Cecil. I think tonight is the Jesse somebody from the Star Wars girl. No, that's not the Star Wars girl. Point is, we have this girl named Jessie coming on who has a channel who puts out really good videos too. So that's what's going to happen tonight. Once again, Kevithar, thank you for getting us a little bit closer to that world-class bullshitter studio. Somebody asked about a retcon to Star Wars, like we did with Terminator or Aliens. A retcon wouldn't be a bad idea. How do you retcon Star Wars? Can we just make Episode 7 not exist? I think Star Wars is too public and too big. And The Force Awakens, even though I hate that movie, it made $2 billion plus. You can't just make that $2 billion worth of people forget like that. This isn't the Avengers. You can't snap your finger and have everyone forget. You can't bring back Carrie Fisher. You can't. I don't care if you threw $100 million at Harrison Ford. He won't come back. Why? I think your best bet, if you had to do a reboot / retcon like that, you just CGI people over their fucking faces and you act like you're like you get Disney to apologize. Like, literally, you get Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy and just say, "Hey, we messed up. We're sorry. We're going to go back and do this to fix it." Because you can't, like, secretly do this. You have to just, because everyone knows the garbage that's going on behind the scenes. You do it like that. You get an apology, and then you go back and you fix it like that. There's no other way about that. No to Mark Wade. No Mark Wade ever. Get Mahler on the High Council. Well, the thing is with Mahler on the High Council is the fact that Mahler is in the UK, which is a 5-hour time difference from Eastern Standard Time. So for Mahler, he would be on at 2 in the morning on a Tuesday, and I know the dude's got work on Wednesday, so it's kind of a hard sell for Mahler or anyone that's out of the country. Now, if Mahler's willing to stay awake or has a vacation day or just doesn't give a shit about sleeping, the dude is always welcome on my channel, and I'll speak for the High Council to have him on on the show. So that's the case for that. But I'm just letting you know why Mahler has only appeared on this channel at like 5 o'clock or 2 in the afternoon, depending on what part of the country you live in, because Mahler's 5 hours ahead, and it's for convenience for him. Like when we had Razor Fist and Retro Blasting and Mahler on, it really worked out well. We had 4,700 people watching, first off, which was fucking insane. And secondly, it was the weekend, and we were able to do that, and schedules were great. So that's that with Mahler. But like I said, he is welcome. It's just a time issue. Blippity Blop. Hey there. Harrison may come back if I had a chance to talk to him now. We must reclaim his character's dignity. Well, Blippity Blop, we're going to have to talk about this when I'm on your channel coming up. We'll get some times worked out. But I don't think Harrison Ford cares about the integrity of his character. I don't know if either Harrison Ford hates Star Wars because he was afraid it typecast him, or he got paid very little. He feels like he was screwed over by George Lucas. I look at it like this, and I don't want to speak from like a place of moral superiority, but like George Lucas in a way made Harrison Ford, and you're thinking Harrison Ford's charisma and acting ability and all this shit. Yeah, but if Harrison Ford only was in Star Wars and Indiana Jones, people would still remember him to this day because those movies are timeless. They've surpassed everything. Indiana Jones is one of the all-time great film characters, one of the all-time great action heroes. When people say who's the greatest action hero, Rambo or McClane or the Terminator, you got to throw Indiana Jones on there too, because maybe Indiana Jones doesn't come from an R-rated action series, but Indiana Jones is a badass dude. I mean, watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. He shoots dudes in the head. He kills people, chokes them to death, shoots through all those guys with the Luger. Indiana Jones is a great action hero, and I think Harrison Ford has George Lucas and Steven Spielberg together to thank for that. And I'm not saying he owes him everything, but I don't think it would be out of the realm of, respect to say like, hey, I'll come back, you pay me, obviously. I'll come back and play the role or do a voiceover here and there. Just like certain little things, because Harrison Ford has had a great career, but it's because of the iconic status of these other characters that he's had such a great career. So there we are. Thank you to the Grand Inquisitor for your super chat. Thank you and good morning. Have you seen Miss Anthropony's video on The Last Jedi? His take is spot on. You should invite him on the High Council. Also take a trip to Colorado to do a High Council. Well, first off, Grand Inquisitor, one of my best friends, Jake, lives out in Colorado. So Dion and I, here's the thing, a little insider information. Back in college, there was a trio. It used to be, Dustin used to be on the show, Dion and myself. Then Dustin moved away because he had a couple kids. So it was Dion, Jake, and myself. And for years, Dion, Jake, and I would have these kind of discussions. In many ways, Jake is like a world-class bullshitter in spirit, because I think you guys would love Jake. He's a fun dude. He's like a 6'2" Korean dude who's crazy as shit. And he loves to drink and party. And he moved to Colorado. And we would have a lot of fun with him if we ever come out west. And we would have a High Council in that way. Another super chat from Marcelo Conti. Thank you. Would you do a Fugitive watch party? You goddamn right I would do a Fugitive watch party. I love The Fugitive. Harrison Ford is my all-time favorite actor. So if you guys wanted Harrison Ford content, gladly. We would watch The Fugitive, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, Air Force One. Like, I just absolutely love those movies. And The Fugitive's a lot of fun. So that's definitely a possibility. You guys can just request stuff for the watch parties, and we can make that happen. Blazing Saddles, that could happen too. Okay, so here's the thing. I did not see Blade Runner 2049. So what I'm hearing is that Harrison Ford gave a great performance in that movie, but didn't give a shit about Star Wars. Well, that could be the case. I own Blade Runner. I think it's okay. I don't enjoy it as much as other people do. I guess because I saw it later, I'm not trying to excuse it as a bad film because it's visually cool, but I think my problem with Blade Runner is like every kind of like sci-fi thing about a robot being human, what does it mean to be human? Like that's a trope to me that I've seen so many times that I'm just like, I get it, I respect it, but it's just not something that I'm into. And that's fine, but I should watch Blade Runner 2049. One, for the channel to be up to date, and it looked cool. And I like Ryan Gosling. I have a lot of respect for him. He's an actor. Ryan Gosling's like a Justin Timberlake. Now, hear me out on this analogy. I don't think Justin Timberlake's a great actor, but what I think is these guys came out as actors or musicians, and they were like geared towards the girls and shit like that. And I just didn't give a shit about those type of people. Like Justin Timberlake, the pretty boy in NSYNC. I didn't listen to NSYNC. I didn't care about that stuff. Ryan Gosling was in like The Notebook and shit like that. Didn't care. But then they have done stuff consistently that made me wake up and take notice of their acting ability. Ryan Gosling is one of those people. Justin Timberlake is, showed up on SNL. He made fun of himself. Great sense of humor. Like the dude. So I will see Blade Runner 2049 just for Ryan Gosling, who definitely brings in good performances. Yeah, real quick to Tiberius Caligula Nero. The last Indiana Jones was dog shit. I think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is worse than The Force Awakens. Question mark. I fucking hate that movie so much. But it did one positive. It brought us all the Indiana Jones merchandise in the summer of 2008, and I bought it all. Super chat from Necrosa. Thank you very much, and good morning. Emily Blunt should have been Captain Marvel. Emily Blunt is a good actress, and I agree. She'd have to dye her hair, but who cares? Dyeing your hair for any role is not a big deal. I like Emily Blunt. She was almost Black Widow, I'm pretty sure, and John Krasinski, her husband, was almost something else in Marvel. So... cool. She's a much better actress. I saw that movie Live, Die, Repeat with her, and I thought she was cool in it, and I believed her is in that role, and I liked that movie way more than I thought I would. That's actually a Patreon commentary we did. Nick or somebody was like, hey, we should do this, and we did it, and I was like, damn, this is a pretty good Tom Cruise movie. So I liked it a lot. I have seen all the Marvel Netflix shows. I've actually seen everything Marvel, period, everything Marvel, with the exception of all of the Spider-Man from the 70s, all the Hulk from the 80s, and that's it. I've seen, and I haven't seen The Runaways or the new Cloak and Dagger. But I've seen every Marvel movie, and I've seen every Marvel Netflix show, and I've seen most of the other properties, including cartoons and stuff. So, like, when I talk about Marvel Comics and stuff like that, I've been a fan my whole life. So that's that. No, I don't think Brie Larson was a good cast for Captain Marvel. We got to see her. Everyone said Michael Keaton would be terrible as Batman, and he kicked ass. He's my favorite Batman. By the way, Wednesday we'll be doing a live commentary with our friend Silswill. It's one of our Patreon benefits of a Batman 89 commentary. So make sure you join our Batman watch party. Yes, I do like Witness with Harrison Ford. I had it on tape as a kid. I know that sounds like an odd thing, but I have it on tape. We just had it at the house. My favorite animated film, off the top of my head, I'll throw Batman Mask of the Phantasm out there. I really enjoy that. I like The Professional, Go-Go 13, a lot. Incredibles is good. Beavis and Butthead Do America is top 2 for sure. I love Beavis and Butthead Do America. I may not be the most ardent Disney defender. I liked it at some point, but not that much. Like I said, I was a Warner Brothers kid, so none of my favorite stuff is going to be... my animated stuff's not going to be coming from Disney at all. I've seen the Hulk versus duo, Hulk versus Wolverine, Hulk versus Thor or whatever. I've seen that years ago. Whenever that first came out on DVD, I watched it. I watched all the direct-to-video ones. The worst one was probably that Punisher one, I think. Yeah, that was one. There was one that was kind of like anime, and it just had a really bad story. Yeah, Star Wars is dead. Disney did kill it. People are still talking about Chappelle. I guess a lot of people are behind on the stream, so good morning. And at the top, at 8:45, I'll cover the Lando story again. That's how we're going to basically do this. We're going to go back to the main story real quick in passing for everyone that missed it. Somebody wants to know who I think would be a good Lex Luthor. Thought Bryan Cranston would have been a good Lex Luthor when everyone was going on about that a couple years ago. I was like, yeah, it's a fantastic idea. The guy's scary. He brings a lot of power to the role. I've seen all of Breaking Bad, so I imagine Lex Luthor like that. I know people are saying it's just because of the bald head. I don't think it's because of the bald head. Bryan Cranston is a fantastic actor. He just has the thing. I mean, he has it. I would like a bigger Lex Luthor because I always thought Lex Luthor looked cool when he was buff, not fat Lex Luthor like the 80s comic. Because if he has a god complex with Superman, why wouldn't he make his body the peak physical condition he could? Like, I believe that Lex Luthor, when he's not doing business deals and scheming to kill Superman, would be working out and doing that kind of shit. No, I do not watch The Daily Show, and I'm currently not watching the World Cup. I'm not a sports fan, but Kendo is, and if you need a recap of that, Kendo can gladly fill you in. Super chat from the Mortafero. Thank you very much and good morning. Good morning and thanks for the entertainment. What have I missed so far? I just tuned in. Well, Mortafero, as we always say on the show, the super chats can dictate the flow of the show, so I'll go on with stuff, or go on the stuff people are talking about. But the main topic so far has been the rumor that Lando Calrissian might be coming back for Star Wars Episode 9 because Lucasfilm has basically run the well dry. They have no one else to talk about, so they just like, we got to dust off Lando and bring him back. Like, they got Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2. We're going to get Lando back. What does Lando bring? Lando worked out great in Empire and Jedi. He's one of the best characters. I mean, yeah, there's not a ton of characters, but here's the difference. Of back then, all the characters had something that was going on. Lando in the new one, I don't necessarily know if Lando would be a good idea, but I don't want to say, Lando sucks, because Lando doesn't suck. I have seen the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury movie. One thing about being a kid, when I was younger, anything Marvel, I don't care if it was good or bad, I wanted to watch it. The Spider-Man cartoon was my favorite back then, so was the X-Men. But anything, movie, TV show, I would even rent. They had a videotape at Blockbuster, I know, vintage, of the Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man show. It was marketed as a Spider-Man movie, and I used to rent that and watch it, play with my little figure and all that shit. I couldn't get enough Marvel stuff. It's kind of cool as an adult before I'm too old. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think I'll ever not like this stuff because, you're into it as a kid. But I just consumed it all. Like I said, I rode my bike to see X-Men. I wasn't even 13 at the time, but I was a big kid. No one ever questioned me. I rode my bike to the movie theater to watch X-Men. I paid in quarters because that's all I had, but I got enough to go see the movie. That was great. And then Spider-Man and all that other stuff. Let's see. Generic Edgelord, thank you and good morning. What do you think the overall reaction of the fans and the actual fans will be if Disney did remake the original trilogy? Well, I think the fans in quotations would be like excited and like, oh, it's a new fresh take and blah 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 because we're a bunch of fucking idiots with like Funko Pop figures and that's what we are that's what we are as a fandom. Just generic, faceless, homogenized crap. Now, the real fans, the actual fans, and here's the thing: people talk about, oh, you're a gatekeeper, this and that and the other. You know what? The people like that have kept the shit alive for all these years. Like, you can't even count the amount of money that the real fans have brought in and kept the franchise alive. No one really asked for the Star Wars wasn't dying out the way Disney could claim, because understand from a merchandising standpoint and a video game standpoint, you had all kinds of big multimedia events without a movie. And like the Blu-ray was a huge deal, the DVD in 04 was a huge deal. I think if you had a remake, like an actual flat out, this is a remake of A New Hope, I wouldn't see it. Why do I need to see it? I know the story. It's like when they did a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho in 1998. You don't need to see it. Like, Vince Vaughn is okay in my book, but he's no Anthony Perkins. Anne Heche is Anne Heche, so whatever. But you didn't need to see that. And much like the Psycho remake, you don't need to see a Star Wars remake. It serves no purpose to anyone anywhere in the world. It's just a way to make more money, and it's a disingenuous way to make more money. So fuck them. Again, from the Mortafero, thank you very much. Great, they're going to kill another great character, excluding Solo. They're going to kill the coolest male characters. Like, Princess Leia would not have been killed. Rian Johnson thought she was his goddess in real life. In reality, Carrie Fisher was an iconic actress for Star Wars, but she knew what she was. Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill knew what they were. They all were aware of what they were in scope of it. They were actors playing these iconic roles that people loved the actors, maybe not them as much. Mark Hamill embraced it. Carrie Fisher had other issues, and Harrison Ford kind of shunned it. So if they kill off Lando, I'm really pissed. Donald Glover is not a good Lando. Only positive I gave it was his voice sounded like it would mature into Billy D. Williams. So there we go. Would I make a video where I buy a massive shitload of Rose Tico figures for $1 and set them on fire? All joking aside, I was considering doing like an Indiegogo or a GoFundMe to buy as many Rose Tico figures as I could and have a massive bonfire. And I was going to have it to where fans could just send in figures and we give you a thank you and a special shout out and all this other shit. We get like 10,000 of these fucking Rose Tico figures. What I'd like to do is like take them all and glue them together and see how high I can stack it, maybe as tall as a house or something. And that would be an interesting video. But there's no denying that Rose Tico is the Constable Zuvio of this era, as well as the probably the least selling Star Wars character ever. And it's not because she's an Asian woman. It's because she's a lame character and a lame looking toy. She just is so, like, the real lady's not very frumpy looking, but Rose Tico is. She's got that stupid haircut and she's like scowling all the time. And like I say in the video that's coming out in a little bit, if Rose Tico was this treasure that everyone said she was on Twitter, why didn't those people go out and buy the toys? How come I'm getting pictures from the Philippines and Europe of stacks of Rose Tico figures? Answer me that. Riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me this. God damn it, Garrett Wansner. That's awesome. Star Wars Philosophy, thank you very much for your super chat and good morning. They will get him to touch R2. Remind him of L2. Oh, come on. That's a low blow. But I wouldn't put it past him. Lando's pansexuality is the biggest mistake ever uttered by somebody behind the scenes of Star Wars. Jonathan Kasdan should have kept his mouth shut. Because now Lando's a joke. So Jonathan Kasdan not only has pissed off the fan base into not going to see Solo, but if Lando's the big get for episode 9, what if people are pissed? What will you get? What would you do? Like, people aren't going to go see the fucking movie because you already ruined him. You personally, Jonathan Kasdan. I don't care what your dad did. If your dad created him, you didn't do shit. You were spawned from your father, but you didn't get his writing ability. I don't think they'll ever remake Lethal Weapon with women because they remade it as a TV show, and that's an okay show. But I think as long as Richard Donner's alive and Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, you can't really pull that one off. If Harold Ramis hadn't have died, I don't think there would have been a female Ghostbusters. I think it would have just been either no Ghostbusters or you could have maybe got them all back together. So as long as the three in Riggs, Murtaugh, and Richard Donner are alive, you're never going to see a Lethal Weapon remake. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. Oh, you hope the Millennium Falcon gets blown up in episode 9. Oh, shit, if the Millennium Falcon gets blown up with Lando and Chewbacca on board. That'd be kind of cool. It should have been Han and Chewbacca going out in a blaze of glory. You could even play that fucking Bon Jovi song. I mean, it would have been on the nose. Stupid, but it would have been better than what we got in episode 7. Yeah, you should blow it up with Rey on the inside. I agree 100%. And rest in peace to Harold Ramis. Just a quick moment of silence for Harold Ramis. There we go. Harold Ramis was a fantastic actor, director, writer. I mean, he was involved with Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, National Lampoon's Vacation, which he directed. I mean, the guy really was an integral part of the modern comedy landscape. Well, not modern anymore, but, you know, from the 80s on through the 90s. Like, the guy doesn't get enough respect. Did Harold Ramis direct Groundhog Day as well? I think so. So if he was involved with that and Stripes, I'm missing a couple. But I'm just saying, all respect to Harold Ramis. It's sad when somebody like that dies. Yeah, he's somebody's father and all that stuff, and he's just an actor to me. But he did contribute a lot to the world of entertainment, and I don't like the fact that his contributions are kind of brushed aside. Because I know a lot of people don't watch old movies because they're old, but a lot of this shit was really funny and stands up better than a lot of modern stuff. I mean, you can get more satisfaction out of the first Terminator than you could the new Terminators because there's a better story to be told. Maybe you're not going to get the epic action of somebody jumping out of an airplane into a fucking rotor blade of a helicopter and all that shit, but you're going to get a better story, and there's a lot of tension and action. And small-scale stuff sometimes works better. You know, when the first Star Wars is a very epic film, but it's a smaller scale film than, say, episode 1, but that also keeps it more focused, and that works better. The Mortefero, thank you again. They've killed off every other male character. From their perspective, what's the difference? And Rey, well, she don't need no man. Fuck my life. You are right about the Rey don't need no man shit. It was very prevalent in episode 7 with the way she treated Finn. And I know I'm reading into this, but the way they even framed her in the shot, she stood elevated to him. And when he like touched her head for a minute, she flipped out and all this shit. It was kind of like a very unnatural reaction. And I don't think it's because he was a black guy. I think it's because he was just a guy. And it was a very yay, rah-rah female empowerment move with Rey. But the funny thing is, the women aren't that receptive. I have a lot of listeners that are like, I don't like Rey. She's dumb. You know, I like Han Solo or this character or that character. So what argument does the SJW media have for that? They don't have one. It's not necessarily a good thing. Yeah, Mad Max movies do get worse every year. And you know what? It's funny I see that screening because over the weekend, I was at the Dr. Phil Seitz' house and we were getting ready for WWE Money in the Bank, and Mad Max Fury Road came on. And I thought to myself, Furiosa is an awesome character. She went through some shit. She has a robotic arm. She looks cool. She's a very good female character. I think the sign of a good character is no matter what male or female, they're an interesting character. And her, Charlize Theron, they were able to make Charlize Theron, this beautiful supermodel woman from South Africa. So that makes Charlize Theron an African-American by definition, into this epic action hero. And I bought it, and I liked it. And I even liked her a little bit in the Fast and Furious 8, where she was the villain. She looked good. She's a good actress. Like, I can't really fault Charlize Theron, but looking at Furiosa, I just thought to myself, this is 2015. Before that, we had the Avengers, we had Black Widow, and we had Scarlet Witch, and we've had other female action figures in the new era that's new since 2010. But the ones in the Star Wars universe, the ones that the nerd media build up, they suck because the nerd media sucks. I really don't like a lot of these people, and I think a lot of this nerd media started with people like your Chris Hardwicks. And by the way, I'm waiting for the whole story to come out about Chris Hardwick before I pass judgment, but I want justice, but I don't like Chris Hardwick on a personal level, but I feel like you got to hear the whole story before people pass judgment. And I think it was a little bit of a snap decision to cancel all of his shows. So I know that was kind of a quick detour, but people have been asking me about that. People have been posting about it in the Facebook page, and I am fine with that. I don't like the communication is very open on that Facebook page about anything entertainment related. And sometimes it's hard to respond, so I'll respond in here, and we'll get it like that. Sakura said, I'm a woman and I hate Rey. Also, my favorite character in the Star Wars universe is Thrawn. See, it's not about, male or female. It's about good characters. Thrawn's cool. I think I actually have the Power of the Force 2 Thrawn action figure. And yeah, a lot of cuck fake geeks are in the SJW show media. They really are. And that's why the other week you had a lot of people going back, like you had your John Campios making videos about why Kathleen Kennedy should be fired, and Jeremy Johns getting in on the fray of it. One, they want to stay relevant. They want the YouTube money. And two, they don't want to be labeled as obsolete. Like that old episode of The Twilight Zone, Obsolete, the Obsolete Man. Fantastic fucking episode. But when you were labeled as obsolete, or cold product, as Eminem would say, it just, you're watching other people pass you by, so you change your tune, even if you don't believe in it. I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but I've always believed in the way I feel about Disney Star Wars. We can go back to when we had 200 subscribers or 100 subscribers, and we're talking about Star Wars the way we always have been. So it's nice that everyone else is catching up to it, but, this is nothing new for us, and it's not going to change until they change, and I see some better stuff. No, you're not going to steal my Thrawn action figure. I'm going to fight you on that one. I actually need to get my collection and do a video on it for you guys, because people keep asking me, when are you going to talk about your toy collection that you always talk about, my action figure collection, anything. I'll do some more videos like that. I got a decent little setup now with a 1080p camera, and I can film some stuff and do a little narration. It'll be a lot of fun, and you guys can help me suggest the next topic for that stuff when we go to make it. So I want to get a lot more fan interaction on the channel. Dies Halo Reach style. God damn it. Yeah, the timing of their change in opinions is suspicious to me. Somebody like a John Campy had a lot to lose financially, and I know you can't see me, but I'm doing the little, if you can hear that, I'm doing the finger thing about that, the money. Money is not a bad thing, but you should be honest. Like, I don't think honesty and a profit they can't exist. You don't have to lie to make money. You can be very honest with people. So John Campea can't, though, because he's built his empire, quotation marks, with his nose up someone else's ass. And now, when the time comes that the majority of people are tired of shit, well, he wants to be where the majority of people are. Give Joe Pesci a lightsaber and Rey a shine box, my life would be complete. You know, Sean, you talk about your mom got confused about Rey and The Force Awakens. My mom is an older lady. She's getting close to 60. She was there. She doesn't really like Star Wars, but she got into it because of me. And even she went like, what is the deal with this girl? Because I showed her clips of Rey and stuff like that, and I explained her the context because I don't want to watch the movies again. But I gave her an honest depiction of the context, and she said that's dumb. Her words are like, why are they trying to get girls in on this shit? I said to her, Mom, girls have always liked Star Wars. Look at it. She goes, well, Princess Leia is different. I think Princess Leia is different because she's cool. And Rey is dumb. It's so basic. But Finn is dumb. Poe Dameron is dumb. They're all dumb. It's, I don't know, it's Dumb Wars, the fucking Phantom Serious. Am I getting bad audio? It seems like somebody said SJWs are jamming the signal. It doesn't say that I'm losing connection. Let me know if the audio is that bad, because I had two people. We lost audio for 5 seconds. Okay. If I'm back, let me know. It looks like I'm still back. Dumb Wars is Dumb Wars is better than Dumb Wars. Yeah, I agree, Johnny. That is okay. I did lose it for a couple of seconds. Okay, it's okay now. Cool. Back to the show. Sorry, guys. My internet's been acting up as of late. I've had to reset my router and stuff, so maybe they're trying to keep my audio or my internet connection down. That sucked, but whatever. It's good now. God damn it, Blippy Blop. How could they be jamming it if they don't know it's coming? Break off the attack. No, it's just, why can't we embrace, I'm not saying we have to embrace the past, but why can't we embrace quality filmmaking? There are quality films that come out all the time that don't get the praise. And when modern movies that don't hit the way they want to come out, they blame everyone else. They blame us. They blame the critics, like with Ocean's 8. Mindy Kaling came out and bitched about, oh, it's the white guys. And then Sandra Bullock said something, and Kate Blanchett backed it up. It's like, yo, maybe Ocean's 8 isn't getting the reviews that you want because it's not a good movie. I mean, it goes both ways. Why did The Last Jedi get all those great reviews? You see how it goes? I actually had somebody contact me with some data about the Rotten Tomatoes scores of The Last Jedi, the new ones. And I'm going to look into it more, and I'm going to put it in a video possibly, because I got this controversy video rolling. While we got a lot of people in the chat that are viewing right now, a couple listeners have contacted me about this conspiracy, the whole Kelly Marie Tran thing. They think they found the guy who started the online harassment, and I'm looking into it. I'm not going to place any blame on anybody if I make the video, but I am going to bring the evidence forward, because what it seems like is they're trying to discredit the people that want the old expanded universe back, because Disney doesn't have any intention of doing that. And I see two things. One, if you bring back the expanded universe, people will just read the books instead of seeing the movies. It's lost money. Also, if they don't push the Disney narrative, the website that leaks the stuff, who they're blaming, the guy that leaks the stuff, won't get the views, the traffic, the money, the ad revenue, all that shit. So it's all about self-preservation and money. Would I go see Metallica versus Motley Crue in a death battle? Yes, I would. Oh, wow. Big super chat from Tanae. Thank you very much. Very much. You mentioned Rey is bad. Did you see her in The Last Jedi? When she does that angry face saber spin when she fights Kylo, it's worse than Katniss's angry face at the end of the Hunger Games. First off, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I did see that, and let me tell you a quick story about the Hunger Games. I went to see the Hunger Games when it first came out in 2012 with Joel, because Joel and I saw 54 movies that year in theaters. Hated the Hunger Games. Not because I hated it because it was a woman lead. I hated it because the way it was shot, it cut. In the beginning, go watch the Hunger Games. Every 4 seconds, the camera angle cuts, and it's all shaky cam, and I was just really like, I was like, where's the focus of this? And I was really pissed off and angry. But back to your thing about The Last Jedi and Rey with her angry face. It's very bad. It's very forced. I don't buy Daisy Ridley as an action hero. I don't think that she is believable. I don't think that she works. I mean, Luke Skywalker doesn't start out as this badass lightsaber wielding Jedi. He starts out as a scared kid who sees his mentor get killed and he reacts no and shoots and shit. And the only thing he knows how to do is fly a ship. With her angry face, it feels like a kid trying to cosplay on screen. That's how I feel like a lot of these Star Wars characters are. Kids cosplaying on screen. Not actors acting, not characters coming to life, but kids, basically numbers on a chart. Like, honestly, they want to represent this, that, and the other, but they don't. Like, Oscar Isaac can act very well outside of X-Men and Star Wars, but in Star Wars, he's shitty. Like, Harrison Ford may have hated Star Wars, but in Star Wars and Empire, he brought his A game. And I think another thing that is missing from these characters is the ability to, it's not the word freeform, but the ability to deviate from the script and make it feel believable. Like when you have natural reactions, like when Rey reacts, she's like, "Oh my god," blah 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 blah, and it just feels like somebody wrote that. When Han's like, "What the hell are you doing?" When Princess Leia shoots the thing, somebody has to save our skins. There is action and emotion, and it resonates with people. Emotion resonates with people. I think hitting people on the most primal level is what works in terms of your movie-going experience. We have to feel something, and I don't feel anything. They tried to artificially create feelings in these Disney Star Wars movies by showing you things that you felt passionate about in the past, and you don't get that. You don't get the real stuff. And I think Rey's face isn't the real stuff. I mean, Rey's face is as fake as when they CGI'd the face onto like Ewan McGregor's body in the episode 1 or something like that. Like, even as shitty as those movies are, at least I kind of bought that he was upset when Qui-Gon died. Like, Jake Lloyd was a terrible actor and a terrible choice, but there are other people that kind of brought it. Rick Oldie wasn't one of them. And, real quick about Katniss Everdeen and her face, Jennifer Lawrence. I think Jennifer Lawrence is very unlikable too. I don't dislike her because of her politics, but the reason I'm not a Jennifer Lawrence fan is because a couple years ago, Red Letter Media covered this too, so you guys can check out their video. But a journalist was trying to interview her, and he kept looking at his phone, and she called him out and tried to embarrass him in front of all these people. Here, the guy didn't speak English natively, and he was trying to look at a translation and read the questions to her, but in her infinite fucking wisdom and patience, she just blew him off. So I'm not a Jennifer Lawrence fan on that level. I just think, that's a sign of selfishness and a lack of respect for someone that, they're just doing their job. Maybe the guy doesn't speak English, but you shouldn't hold that against him. Cut him some slack, I always use this as an example. The Rock wouldn't treat people like that. And I think he's the best example of how to be a celebrity in the mainstream and treat people with respect. So there you go. But again, Tanae, thank you so much for this super chat. Thank you for all the ones you've given so far. They're going towards the studio, and I greatly appreciate it. The Mortefero said, "I have to run. Great day, man. Have a great day, man." The Mortefero, if you've already run, I apologize that I didn't get to read this while you were still listening, but thank you very much. I greatly appreciate your super chat. GDF Gaming says, "Oh, good. Oh, God, Lando's back. Too little, too late. Too little, too bloody late." Yeah. First off, thank you, GDF Gaming. I greatly appreciate that. And yeah, it is too little, too late. I'm a guy that would buy Lando products constantly. I thought Lando was cool. You can't sell this movie on Lando. Why would you want to sell this movie on Lando after the piss poor performance of Lando Calrissian in Solo: A Star Wars Story? Now, I want to show you guys something real quick. Give me a moment. I apologize if there's a quick moment of silence, but I found a very interesting graph that I'd like to show you. Now, it's very anecdotal, so don't take this as fact or anything like that, but there's a website called JediTempleArchives.com, which my friend Michael from Retro Blessing had a run-in with, so the people on there can be a little weird, but their sentiment towards the movies are very similar to what a lot of the way you people feel. And I wanted to bring up this article. Where did it go? Did they pull it down? Oh, here it goes. Sorry. They have a poll where they talk about the review, or basically the fans of this website ranked the Star Wars movies And I thought it was interesting to talk about this because, let's see, where are we at? Boom, there we go. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I think it would make a nice topic of discussion. So let's see, where are we at? Right here. So this is the results for the poll. You see that Empire Strikes Back came in first, followed by A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and in the last place, The Last Jedi. So Empire Strikes Back, I think, had an average score of 9.62 out of 10, and New Hope had a 9.20. So I think a lot of people love those first two movies. And Return of the Jedi, an 8.76. By the way, we covered Return of the Jedi on Saturday night for our watch party. I was taking shots by Super Chat Request. It got kind of funny, but it was Crown Royal, and it was tasty, and I had a great time. We had our good friend Brian Lape. He was drunk with us, and the other guys were there too, and they were drinking, and it was a good time. But you see how the original trilogy is held in such high regard. I know there's nostalgia involved, but I honestly think that those movies structurally work better than the new ones. Surprisingly, you have Rogue One after the originals, and then you have Revenge of the Sith, Solo, The Force Awakens, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and The Last Jedi. I agree with this ranking to a degree, and I would put A New Hope first and keep The Last Jedi in last, but I'm interested to hear what some of you guys think of this ranking system. I mean, you don't have to give me your entire ranking, but what do you think of this? Because it goes further down to tell you more of the numbers. Let's see if this helps with you guys. Can you see that better? Yeah, you can see that better now. So we see the actual scores right there. And Solo's right in the middle. And if you listen to our review, I said Solo is just a 5 out of 10, a very basic film. It's not the worst Star Wars movie, but it's not the best. Alden Ehrenreich sucks. Donald Glover's not that great. Chewbacca is the best character. I thought Woody Harrelson did a good job. Danny Newton was fine. That little robot, or that little alien guy, was sad to see go. But you had things like L337 or Leet or whatever the fuck is the way you say it, that brought the movie down. And I think a lot of people were just pissed off at the stupidity. I think if they played it a little more seriously, it would work, because the humor in Star Wars just doesn't fucking work. So here's a graph of the scores for the trilogies in terms of the deviation. I don't really get it, but it looks like this. Look, the original trilogy is head and shoulders above everything else. The prequels are sitting at 5.8. The original's 9.19. Sequel trilogy anthology. So basically, this just goes to reaffirm that the sequel trilogy is not loved by anyone. Anyone from anywhere. And I mean, you guys definitely have talked about this and reaffirmed that as well. I just find it interesting how the other media, the media that is not run by the fans, or the media that has no idea what the fans are actually talking about or what they care about, I find it funny that they just always keep telling us like everything's great, yet their hair's on fire. You know, oh no, everything's fine. The scores are great, the sales are great, this and that and the other is great. Like Pablo Hidalgo's trying to tell people about the toys and how great they are, but hydration break. But they're really not. And yeah, The Force Awakens is overrated. And yeah, the sequel trilogy is tolerated at best. I won't even tolerate it. I've never met someone outside of that guy at GameStop that said The Last Jedi was his favorite one. And no, Episode 9 will not be canceled. At best, it'll be pushed back if the fan backlash gets worse, which you guys are all in control of that. But no, it's not going to get canceled. I mean, I know there's no story to tell. There's no finale. There's nothing. Like, are they going to destroy another super weapon? Are they going to have another lightsaber duel between Kylo Ren and Rey? Like, say what you about Luke and Vader fighting, but it only happened twice. Technically 3 times if you count the dream, but I don't. Oh, wow, Tanae, thank you very much. Holy shit. Return of the Jedi would have been my favorite Star Wars from the OT if it wasn't for the Endor scenes. Luke and Vader, Palpatine scenes on the Death Star were great, but it's hard to watch because of the majority of the screen time being Endor and the effing Ewoks. Well, first off, wow, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Secondly, let's break this down now. Okay, Return of the Jedi would have been your favorite if it wasn't for the Endor scenes. The Endor scenes do kind of suck. I think the Endor scenes before the Ewoks appear aren't bad. I like the idea that you have to go down and infiltrate an Imperial base on foot, because it was they either attacked them in space or the Imperials were attacking their base. So the rebels are going on the offense, on the ground. And a ground assault's cool. We hadn't seen that before. But they just take a hard left curve and right under their ear with the fucking Ewoks. I agree that the Ewoks do suck. It's stupid to see sticks and rocks destroy an AT-ST. I mean, those things didn't really get too destroyed at the Battle of Hoth, yet in Return of the Jedi, boom, it's whatever. Now, talking about the Vader and Luke scenes with Palpatine on the Death Star, they were great. It really built upon the Force, the light side, the dark side, what it means to be a Sith, what it means to be a Jedi. We had already seen Luke kind of juggling the dark and the light side. He was using Force Choke, which was a Vader move only. Previously, he was dressed in all black. He was killing dudes left and right on the sail barge. And, that stuff was really great. But when you do cut into the Ewoks and the lighthearted nature of the music and all that stuff, I agree that it kills it tonally. I'm pretty sure there was an original idea of Star Wars being a little darker, ending darker, Han Solo's death, all that stuff. I don't like the idea of Han dying. I think them all surviving isn't a bad thing. Luke definitely needed to beat Vader in the way he did. I wouldn't have changed a single moment about that. I think they should have had more savage warriors on Endor instead of little Ewoks. I know people say, oh, they're savage because they're cannibals and this and that, but they're cutesy and they sell merchandise. They're like the 80s porgs, except they're more capable. I mean, if it's an Ewok versus porg debate you want to have, I'm going Ewok all day because the Ewoks do stuff in the story. I'm not saying it's good stuff in the story, but at least they do stuff. And it's interesting when they get captured to a degree how they're going to eat them, but then after they tell the story, it just kind of falls flat on its face. I used to think Return of the Jedi was the best Star Wars movie because I did like the happy outcome. I liked the battle as a kid. Certain things on Endor are cool. Like, I love the speeder bike chase. I think that's one of the most unique moments in Star Wars history. Therefore, it's one of the most unique moments in all of film history. The speeder bike chase is awesome. It's epic. It's fun. Luke Skywalker is very capable, very badass. I hate to keep using the phrase badass, but Luke Skywalker is on that scene right there. He brings his A game. If anything, Luke Skywalker is the true hero of Return of the Jedi. He's the most interesting and compelling character. I know that it's about Vader's redemption at that point on the Death Star, but for me, it's all about Luke and his struggles, and that makes it really fucking awesome. But once you get to Endor, you're right. The totally just shifts. I'm trying to rebook it, and using wrestling phrases here, I apologize. I'm trying to rebook how you could do Return of the Jedi to keep it tonally consistent with Empire and A New Hope, because while A New Hope was very fun and lighthearted, it had dark moments, and I think that's what works about Star Wars. You have light and dark moments, and you can. I don't know why it's bad to scare a kid in a film or make them nervous and then give them, like, boom, oh my god, because real life's like that. I'm not saying Star Wars needs to be about life lessons, but running the gamut of emotion doesn't hurt. I just don't see the negative impact of that in Star Wars, and Return of the Jedi did that poorly. The movie starts out so strongly, especially the shit in Jabba's palace. That's really cool, and it's unique, and you have some different stuff. I think the Boba Fett death is dumb, but Luke is a badass dude, badass motherfucker on the sail barge. When he's just killing people left and right, the front flip, that's the first time I think you see... No, it's not. You see Luke do a front flip in Empire, so I'm wrong. But you really see a lot of cool action. You see Luke, and I hate to use the Hal Rudnick phrase, at the height of his powers, he is slicing dudes down left and right, and it all builds well. And the Yoda shit, and then they get on the thing, and I love the humor on the shuttle Tidarium and all that. But then it goes downhill. So thank you, Tanae, for that massive super chat. And we got some more to read, so thank you for everyone who is patient. But, thank you so much. That's all I can say. I really appreciate that. More Awesome Metal says, The Force Awakens had a worse scenario than The Last Jedi. The Force Awakens told nothing, while The Last Jedi told a mess. If The Force Awakens had a good initial plot, Rian Johnson could have done all he wanted to in The Last Jedi. You're correct. Here's the thing, though. The Force Awakens told a story that was good enough for a lot of people to want to come back. That's why The Last Jedi made all the money it did. Not because it made all of its money because of the brand of Star Wars, and people really were duped into liking The Last Jedi. Not taking a pot shot at Jeremy, but he liked that movie. He's changed his opinion because of what came next, but he did like that film at one point in time, and that is It's an indicator that people that even feel this way about Star Wars now liked what came before. So I don't know if Rian Johnson had carte blanche to do anything he wanted with the Last Jedi, which he ended up doing and ruining everything. Like, name me something that he actually did better. I don't. I can't. And now that's where we are here. J.J. Abrams can't do whatever he wants because Rian Johnson's things had certain implications. Luke is dead. Leia is really dead in real life. Holdo is dead, and you bring in all kinds of elements to Star Wars that aren't very Star Warsy and that aren't very good. So, that's where we are. Tanae, again, thank you very much. I can understand it because at the time movies were classic good guys beat bad guys, but it doesn't age well. The Wookiees would have been better. I agree 100%. I like the idea of good versus evil, and I like good winning in the Star Wars grand scheme of things. It works. It's a better story. Because I know there's depressing people that it's only better when the heroes lose. You had the hero lose an empire, and they got to come back and finish strong. Finishing strong is the most important part of a movie. You can poor. You can start poorly, but you can't end poorly. I think that's why that's why, quick detour, I don't dislike it, but that's why Raiders of the Lost Ark is my least favorite of the original Indiana Jones trilogy. I think it's a fantastic film. I would honestly say 10 out of 10, but I hate the ending, with a passion. I think the ending of Raiders of the Lost Ark, not a bad ending, but I don't find it as emotionally uplifting or enjoyable as the other two. And I'll say Temple of Doom, which just so happens to be my favorite one. I like it when Indy saves the kids. They come back, peace to our village, life to our village, whatever the line is, and they kiss, and the elephant shoots them with the water and all that. And then Last Crusade, they literally ride off into the sunset. Perfect ending. When it comes to Star Wars, I think the ending with the Ewoks and the village and all that shit, and the non-yub-nub music, the celebration works. Wookiees would have been better 100%. Not even going to argue. That would have been so cool. Imagine Wookiees, because they talk about Wookiees ripping people's arms off. I'm not saying you had to show it, but imagine there's a scene where it just cuts to a Wookiee hitting a stormtrooper with an arm of another stormtrooper. You don't have to see the ripping, but you see the humor. You can have humor like that. Wookiees could punch through the armor because you've seen Chewbacca throw stormtroopers. And Wookiees are technologically advanced enough to know how to do space flight and use laser weapons and all that shit. And we saw the episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith. We know how Wookiees operated. Yeah, they had catapults and shit, but there was a way to tie that in, and you could have written it any way you wanted in Return of the Jedi. So I think a bigger threat would have been better. And when I mean bigger, I mean literally a bigger threat, larger characters. It would have been more imposing. It would have worked better. Ewoks, no. Thank you again, though, today. Ghetto Bible. If it was a planet of armed Wookiees, that would be great. Yeah, I'm just jumping off of what he said a minute ago. It would have been great. It would have been 100% better. Mupti, thank you very much. Good morning for your super chat. I kind of wish there was some sort of Leia and Vader confrontation given the reveal in Return of the Jedi. Now, that is a very interesting thing to say. I agree with you. I think there should have been some kind of interaction as well, because it would have called back to the first film where she's like, Darth Vader, only you could be so bold. That would be nice. And then once she learns about that, it would have been, I'm not saying you needed to I don't even say you want to take Princess Leia hostage on the Death Star, but if the family thing was always meant to be there, it may work better if Princess Leia was on the Death Star. I don't know. I don't really want to change the because it's really the story of a father and son in redemption. I don't really want Princess Leia to be Luke's sister at all. The family aspect like that just doesn't work for me. I don't like it. So I do wish they would have had an interaction, but tell me what you guys think about how Leia could have interacted with Vader, because she didn't take any shit from Vader in the first movie. Even when she was about to be, when she was hit with the interrogation droid, it got nothing out of her. Like, she's strong-willed as shit. Again, it's a woman character that nobody's bitching about. I wonder why. Because she's a good character. God damn it. I mean, I keep hammering it home, but Disney needs to know. Disney knows our channel exists. People out there know. I mean, I'm blocked by one of the guys that I'm talking about in my controversy video. I've never even spoken to the dude on Twitter, but he thinks we're something that we're not, so we're instantly blocked. That's how these people operate. You shut down communication. I'd invite the guy on the show to talk to him, but you know what? He won't have it because he's afraid. Big super chat from Robert Maxey. Thank you very much, Robert. And good morning. Short of a very public apology, the firing of Kennedy, Johnson, Abrams, and the entire story group, I will never give Lucasfilm another dime, I'm assuming, because it says some. And I'm 44, saw all 3 original trilogy at the theater, and this literally breaks my heart to do. Now, Robert, remember, they're going to say you're an angry guy. So they're not going to care. Because now they're starting to stay away from the angry white guy. They're just saying, man, baby. It's always the guy's fault. But here's the thing, Robert. You're the type of person I'm talking about in the next video that comes out. And I'm with you, too. I'm not 44, I'm 29. But I've seen the original trilogy, saw the special edition in theaters, grew up on the videos. And then I saw the prequels at 10, which is, like, I guess the prime age. Didn't like them, but people like us and most of the people in the chat, we've kept Star Wars alive financially for decades. Like I've talked about, my first communion, got hundreds of dollars, spent it all on Star Wars toys. There are kids out there that were into Star Wars when there were no movies, and there are people like you who saw that shit and kept it alive in spirit and financially for all these years. The public apology will never happen. Kennedy and Johnson will be fired eventually. Abrams will be done after Episode 9. And the entire story group, I don't know if they'll ever go away. You'll keep your Pablo Hidalgo. He'll be able to keep his job because he's been there for so long and stuff like that. But it does break my heart, too. I don't necessarily like the fact that Star Wars is the way it is. I don't like that people I don't like being attacked by them. And I don't like the fact that people are just so willing to want to watch people's favorite thing be killed in front of their eyes. You know, they always say, like, oh, these toxic Star Wars fans. I don't think they're toxic Star Wars fans. I think they're people that are watching something they love be taken away from them and killed and ruined and bastardized. It's not out of the realm of reality to say there are people that Star Wars is so much to them in their lives. Now, I'll tell you guys how I feel. Star Wars has brought a lot of my friends together closer than we were before. Dion and I became friends through Dustin, and we were friends because I heard him watching wrestling, and that brought us together, and that was cool. But Star Wars is really the thing. Like, we all had that background. Like, you like Star Wars? Oh, I like Star Wars too. We would have discussions in the cafeteria. And we weren't these nerdy guys that were hanging out doing all this other lame shit. Like, we were guys that had girlfriends and lives and fun stuff we were doing. But Star Wars discussion brought everyone together. We had people from every walk of life that could come together and talk Star Wars. I mean, we would spend hours in the cafeteria. They'd tell us to leave because it closed at midnight. It's like 1 a.m. and they're still cleaning up. Can you guys go? Like, we had so much Star Wars stuff to talk about. And so, like, when you say, you know, it breaks your heart, I get it. It pisses me off. I'm a little more vocal and angry. I'm not going to let them make me sad. I'm just going to fight back with this channel, with the videos, that kind of stuff. Like, listen, Lucasfilm, Disney, whoever's out there listening to us and the High Council, all that shit, we're tired of your crap and we're not going to put up with it. And there are millions of people out there that are either ignoring Star Wars or they're not going to put up with it. It's funny. The Chinese aren't going to put up with your shit. They don't want, what is it, Baizu or whatever the word they have for this type of movement. They're not putting up with that shit. They're not going to allow it. And that's why Jurassic World in one day made more than Solo's entire run. There's a reason this shit's failing miserably. So Robert, I don't want you to, like, don't allow people on the internet, if you post your opinions elsewhere, don't allow people on the internet to make you feel bad or embarrassed. Oh, it's just Star Wars, it's just a movie. Like they say in Fanboys, not to me. It's it really does bring people together. I may shit on wrestling, but it brought me a lot of my friends in real life. And, you know, maybe it's garbage now, but I respect what it brought us. Same with Star Wars. They should really respect what it brought them. And them, I mean, it brought them money. Pablo Hidalgo has a career and a life and access to celebrities and all kinds of shit because of Star Wars. Let's not destroy it because we're trying to be politically correct in 2018. Thank you very much, though, Robert. I really appreciate that. Kenneth LaRock, thank you very much. Good morning. The only way I could see Leia and Vader interacting is if he didn't die until after they made it to Endor. Oh, hydration break. Great idea. I get it. Would have been interesting. Could have added more to have Luke. I mean, I really think Leia being tacked on as a sister, like I said, is tacked on. The impact of Luke, like, there are a couple moments I consider beautiful Star Wars moments. I'm using quotations. Luke staring off into the horizon in A New Hope is powerful. Visually, it's beautiful. Music is great. The emotion, we get what Luke is feeling on screen. Even though he's new to us, we get it. You know, we've all been places in our life where we don't want to be, and we look onto the horizon to go further, and, you know, we do eventually. That's our destiny. And Luke's destiny is that. And it comes full circle when he's staring. And I think the moment when he's looking at Darth Vader burning on the funeral pyre and it plays the music again and stuff, it's, you know, it's like poetry. It rhymes, according to George Lucas. Not to, you know, make light of your question, but that, you know, that situation is the same thing. I would like if it made more sense for Leia to be involved, but at the same time, I just like the father-son story aspect. I think that's why the prequels are better than the sequels because it's the parallel of Anakin's descent. Like Luke and Anakin started in the same place. They went down the same path initially, and Anakin veered left and Luke went right, and they eventually met up, and Luke brought the good out in Anakin, and in many ways he was redeemed for what he's done. So it's a really cool story. Parallels work. I don't think parallels are a bad thing. Let's see. Thank you again, Kenneth. From Spark Demon, thank you very much. Episode 9, The Falcon Lies in Ruin. Lando grabs the hard drive from the navigation computer and puts it in another droid's body, saving L337. God damn it, Spark Demon. That is the Brandon Moist of comments. No, all joking aside, no, thank you very much. But L337, man, they should just do... I know they want to make money from the action figures, and you do have the contingency of people that are going to go out and buy it. But what you should do, when you get characters like this that are universally shit on, like a Rose Tico, you shouldn't... Disney is going to push Rose Tico in your face in Episode 9. I advocate Rose Tico gets killed off in the first 5 minutes, giving people hope that the movie won't suck beyond suck. But with L337, you should just never acknowledge it again. Flat out, never acknowledge it. More Awesome Metal, thank you very much. How can we make the Episode 9 boycott a success? How can we convince the casual fans not to go see it? It's important this movie fails if you want Kathleen Kennedy out. I agree with your sentiment. Here's the thing, though. The casual fans already are losing interest in Star Wars. This new woke audience that they're trying to get, people and their kids, people in that. The Last Jedi made $700 million less than The Force Awakens. It's a big chunk of change. Now let's look at the Avengers. You know what? We'll take a second. I'm going to give you the numbers for the Avengers. Let's do it like that, because instead of people saying, "Oh, you're just pulling stuff out of your ass," give me a moment. Let me pull the Avengers on box office on Rotten Tomato or on Box Office Mojo. It's going to take a second because I'm talking and typing and it's throwing me off. So the Avengers made. Avengers at the box office. There we go. Let's pull this up for you guys here. And let's call it back. Thanks for being patient, folks. This is a one-man show, which is completely fine, but I don't have somebody to pull up the screenshots for me. There we go. So here we go. Let's look at the Avengers, and we're going to answer your question about the boycott. So we're looking at the Avengers. Domestically, it went up. Each one. Or no, it didn't go up domestically, each one, but I think worldwide. Where's the worldwide? Okay. Avengers 1 made $1.5 billion. Avengers 2 made $1.4 billion, and then the next one made 2. So look at the difference there. It's not a big difference from parts 1 and 2. It's not like they lost tons and tons of money. It was $113 million less. Chunk of change, but it's not the chunk of change that, Star Wars lost. Star Wars lost 7 times more in the interim between Episode 7 and Episode 8. So when you ask me questions about the casual fans not to see it, I don't think the casual fans are a problem. I think the casual fans have already lost interest. I think what you do for the hardcore fans also who are hurt, and I think you just remind them. I don't think you have to go out and say defamatory things about Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson because they do dumb shit themselves. That's the beauty of the Star Wars situation and how we can all win as fans, because they're just burying themselves deeper into the hole. Their ideologies don't appeal to anyone outside of their inner circle. And the inner circle does include the geek culture journalists and journalism in quotation mark society. Like, they're the people that are indoctrinated in that garbage. So the movie's not going to make as much. I think if we just constantly remind people through channels like this and the High Council and stuff, if we remind people where we've been, what's been said about us, how we've been treated, it's going to work. You're going to get Kathleen Kennedy out. Episode 9 is not going to do the numbers. It's not going to be Avengers style shit because the next movie out is Episode 9. Avengers made so much money because you went from Black Panther, which was a huge hit, to Infinity War, which was a bigger hit. God damn, I really loved that movie too. And it built on everything that came before it. Last Jedi ruined everything that came before it, which ripped off everything before that. So you're just really pissing off people. It's a really muddled situation. It's like constant restarts. It's like being in a bad relationship. Oh, I promise I'll change this time, and you still hit them in the next time. So it just doesn't fucking work. So that's what you can do to answer your question. The Grand Inquisitor, thank you very much. World Class Bullshitters High Council is better than Collider Jedi Council shills. And I like how you put the money sign as the S in shills. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. You know, that is one of the reasons why this channel exists. Not to be better than the Jedi High Council, but because I used to watch Screen Junkies movie fights, and I would play along in my head. And I thought, you know, we need to do something like that. Because a lot of those people, either they didn't, back then I just thought, oh, they don't really understand movies, the stuff they talk about. And then you start to see where these people work, and it kind of became obvious that, you know, sometimes there's a little more behind the scenes, and they say what they say to promote shit and keep themselves safe. So I appreciate when you say stuff like that. We try to be better. We're more honest. I'm not saying that the John Schnepp guy, the guy that made the Superman documentary. I don't know how I feel about him. I don't really dislike him. He's the one I probably like the most. But when you got your Campias and your Christian Harloffs and your other guy, the ones that are the schmoes, they don't know shit. And I'm sorry to use that crappy joke, but that's what that's how I feel. But thank you for that compliment. I greatly appreciate it. Michael Daylor, thank you very much for your super chat. Can we get an L337, a Star Wars story, to cash in on the non-existent SJW market? Well, if you ever wanted a Star Wars movie to make $0 at the box office, you make an L337 movie. The character that no one liked, and you can just follow her wide hip having robot ass all over the planet and all over the galaxy and do all kinds of crazy shit like that. I don't know if anyone out there wants to see that movie. You know you're going to get some fucking idiot journalist on CBR or something. Oh, L337 is the film we need for droid rights. You don't need droid rights. Droids aren't fucking real. Like, shut up. Those people are the dumbest. Again, they want to get their attention to their sites. They talk about Star Wars, but they do it negatively. Like, I don't trust CBR and I don't trust Forbes anything outside of like straight up financials. I know it even says Scott Mendelson doesn't reflect the reviews of Forbes and all that shit, but I don't trust anyone that writes for their website now because of Scott Mendelson. And it's just a dumb situation. There's no reason why L337 needs a story, and there's no reason why people in the galaxy should like droids. They're fucking, it's like your blender. Did your blender have rights? I mean, we have a Ninja blender. I like it. I clean it, but it doesn't have rights in my household. You know, when I have dinner, my fucking blender doesn't have dinner. I don't get where this droid rights activism comes from. First off, it's a fucking galaxy far, far away. It's fictional. It's fake. People don't exist there. Secondly, it's a fucking appliance. And if you want to even put a third thing, the Clone Wars happened not too long ago where a fucking army of droids attacked people and killed countless people. I don't care how they want to frame it in terms of the Star Wars universe nowadays where they're like, oh, it was Count Dooku in this. People didn't know that shit when the war was going on. It was a fucking war against robots, murderous robots. I can see why people would have a little bit of bias against the robot. So this droid rights shit and liberation and freedom, basically droid William Wallace was a fucking fail of a character. And I hope no one is that. Let's see. I'm sure John Connor was against droid rights essentially after Judgment Day. Of course he would be against it. It's such a dumb concept that people are like, oh, droid rights. I think it's just supposed to be like an allegory for slavery, because if you notice how Han and Chewbacca had their teeth checked and stuff like that. And yeah, it is the victimhood mentality they're trying to push on. It just doesn't work in Star Wars. It doesn't. The Last Jedi, terrible leftist justice. God damn it, I like that one. That is my favorite one. Droids didn't do nothing. Yes, they did. God damn it. Michael Daylor, don't freak out. I was just kidding. Dude, I'm not freaking out. If I'm angry, I will legitimately like yell. Or I get really, really quiet when I get angry. But no, I mean, we're having fun here on the morning show. You know, we got a little bit of time left before we close it out. I thought I'd keep you guys entertained the whole time. I can't play you the Butter song. I can play other songs on the piano, but that's Ethan's shtick, and I don't want to rip him off. So I'm not going to play you guys the piano or anything like that. It's early. You don't really want to hear that. I don't sing, so put it like that. I offended your toaster. I'm not sorry, Diane. Not one bit. It does. Yeah, that's really how it is. Lick the butter. I do. I've heard the Butter song one time. Ethan played it last week on the High Council, I think. Somebody asked. The Mr. Fish and Ducks. Thank you and good morning. Empire made the Jedi myth known to a few, so no one would know that Dooku was running the show with droids. Thank you. That's true. I just don't. That's another problem I have to jump back with the Last Jedi. When Rose is like, "You're Finn, the hero. You're great." Blah 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 blah. It's like that happened yesterday. I know you're gonna have like damage reports and stories and stuff are gonna come back, but she's like in the engineering room. She's not really that like. What do you do? Fix the hyperdrive or the steam or what? You're like the little Rose Tico is that little scaly creature that Scotty deals with in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. That's the Rose Tico of the Star Trek universe. That's where she is. Do you think he knows everything Captain Kirk's doing? No, he's only privy to certain things, and when the story calls for it, he knows what's going on. I just don't like how everyone's like aware of this shit, and that's why I don't buy into that, and I don't buy into the universe knowing about all these things. We don't know everything that ever happened in war. We have the general idea of what happened, but if Count Dooku was shrouded in secrecy and it took the Jedi this long, the Jedi Temple was wiped out. Therefore, wouldn't his story kind of just be wiped out with it? Think about it like that. It's like burning the library. We don't know about what they burned. Some things are lost to history, and I'd say the Jedi Scrolls, and well, not the Jedi Scrolls because we saw them in the Last Jedi, but like the archives, the Jedi Temple archives that Jocasta Nu held, were destroyed by Palpatine or manipulated by Palpatine. So there you go. Sam Flanagan, the Moist Empire Union. That's the way I like to spend my morning. The Moist Empire. Let's see. Fanatics of Film, thank you very much. Yeah, L337 scene was the worst part of Solo. Solo sucked. What is your dollar prediction for Episode 9? Well, let's see. Episode 9 dollar prediction. I think I said $990 million internationally or worldwide. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to stick with the higher nines. I'm not going to say a billion. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know the future. If I did, I'd be a very rich man, and I'd give you guys some insider info. But all joking aside, it's going to make significantly less than The Last Jedi. You got to just remember, even if you're a casual person, you're like, I didn't like the last Star Wars movie. Why go see the next one? There's no cliffhanger to keep you coming back. Like, you may have disliked Empire Strikes Back in 1980, but the cliffhanger, you got to know, was he really his father? I got to see how this ends. There's no cliffhanger. They just leave defeated. It's like, oh, there's 12 people that fly away on the Millennium Falcon. So, if everyone else is destroyed, there are sympathetic planets or systems to that, but what are they going to do? Are they going to go recruit more people? Does it take place 30 years in the future? All these things, these questions aren't inciting an interest in me, or I'm sure a lot of other people, to go run out and see this fucking movie. I don't get it. So that's why I'm predicting the way it's going to go down, 990, because it's a Star Wars brand. You have that, and you still have people that are blind denial. But if the first one made $2 billion, then the second one made 1.3, and the next one makes 990, come on. Seriously, think about that. This isn't the Avengers. They don't have that built-in respect to that upward trending progression. They have, it's modern Star Wars. And somebody's guessing 750, won't make budget. Oh my God, dude. I would love if that movie did not make budget. Holy shit, could you imagine 2 Star Wars flops like that in a row? I couldn't imagine what they would do if that movie didn't make budget. That's a scenario I'd love to live in, because I'd be sitting here laughing my ass off, and I'm sure we'd have live stream like, oh, it failed beyond belief. It made $8 in China. Fuck, could you imagine if it didn't even open in China? It doesn't even matter if it opens in China. Those movies don't make dick in China. But just imagine it flopping that hard. Holy shit. Okay, so people are talking about movie reviews. Solo, 157 million. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I wanted to read that one from Zugi. Movie reviews for you has Solo loss estimated at 150 to 170 million dollars versus the $100 million quoted around everywhere else. Huh? That I wonder. Unemployment Ryan Johnson story. God damn it. I would like the true numbers to come out. I'm not advocating that anybody do this, so don't do it or don't attempt to. But imagine if there was a Sony email hack for like Disney. Like, imagine the information that would come out. That would really clear up a lot of questions, and that would really help the situation. It'd be very interesting to see the insider stuff, the behind-the-scenes stuff. I would find that very interesting. Fanatics of Film, again, thank you very much. I think that they'll actually treat us like human beings if episode 9 does flop. Yeah, I think so too. I think they'll apologize and they'll kind of correct course. I do think the Jon Favreau TV series has the most potential because it's Jon Favreau. Again, depending on who's at the top, they can alter, they can determine where it goes. But Jon Favreau brings a lot of goodwill. I think if they're smart, they market it as the director of Iron Man. They don't say Iron Man 2. They just say that for the man who brought the MCU to the screen for the first time. There you go. You can use that. You can also talk about Jon Favreau's work on The Lion King. If people are a fan of that, I haven't seen it, so I can't say. But you can do all kinds of stuff like that and really build it up. Plus, it takes place after Return of the Jedi, so if we're still seeing remnants of the Empire and stormtroopers and shit like that, you can really milk that nostalgia one more time. But I think they'll treat us like human beings. You know what? The atmosphere is going to be very interesting around Star Wars Celebration. Not even necessarily just like how they're going to treat like me and Ethan and Jeremy from the High Council, but like how the thing is, the last Celebration was before episode 7 or 8, so it's going to be a different take. I mean, there was already that hubbub around Mark Hamill's comments. So how do you think it's going to go now? I think Mark Hamill's going to show up to try to calm everybody. Oh, episode 9 is going to be great and all this stuff. And people aren't going to boo Mark Hamill because they're emotionally attached to Luke Skywalker. Like Disney and Lucasfilm have access to the best resources. So they're going to know how to play on people's emotions and get those public reactions at the show to be positive. And then people are going to say online that that's because, those people represent everybody. It's funny. When it's a small minority that dislikes something, it's not everybody. But when it is a small minority that likes it, it is everybody. They're just trying to spin it. There's a big spin on that. So episode 9 is going to, or not episode 9, but Celebration next year is going to be a very interesting situation. And that'll lead into the episode 9 hype. So we got an interesting couple of months for Star Wars. And we'll cover it here on the channel. Don't worry. Today, thank you again. The Last Jedi flopped and they attacked us. So I doubt it. Well, I would say it was a flop in many ways. I know you can't really say it was a flop financially at the box office. It did make a significantly less amount or smaller amount. But all the other stuff that Star Wars, like 2017 was the worst year for Star Wars, I'd venture to say. I know we'll say financially, whatever, but you hurt the brand with the Battlefront 2 fiasco. And then you had all this shit come out with The Last Jedi, and now you've had 2018 be a constant deluge of just anger from them to us. I know we're angry too, but they should have the high ground, and they should take it and be professional about it. But no, they're not. They're just constantly shitting on people. So, yeah, that's an interesting situation. Or an interesting take on the situation. We'll definitely see. I think it needs to hurt like a Solo box office bomb. And then wait till that happens and wait till all the information that comes out about Daisy Ridley threats and all this other shit. They're going to play on people's emotions to try to deflect from the failure that is episode 9 if it's a flop. They're doing it with Solo. Remember, no one talks about Solo anymore. No one makes articles about Solo anymore. They only talk about the Kelly Marie Tran situation, the Chuck Wendig situation, this other guy that went on Twitter that was a douchebag. They're only talking about that kind of stuff. Now they're talking about Lando. They're really moving away from Solo. Yet Marvel still talks about Infinity War to a degree. Now they're slowly moving towards Captain Marvel while promoting Ant-Man and the Wasp. But they're not trying to brush Infinity War under the rug. Like you see articles, oh, Infinity War broke another record. It beat Titanic in domestic box office. Can it do this? Can it do that? Whatever. Frank Bullitt, I'd boo him to rile up the crowd too. Fanatics of Film, again, thank you very much. I love Favreau. Were you a big fan of Swingers? I've seen it. I like it. I think I like Jon Favreau as an actor quite a bit. Was he in not very bad things? Was he in the one that was The Hangover before it was The Hangover? I think Jon Favreau plays a really good douchebag on film, and that's my favorite Jon Favreau. But that's the one with Vince Vaughn. I know I've seen it a long time ago. That's the skinny Vince Vaughn film. So that's how I always think of that movie. And real quick, let me look up some of the stuff Jon Favreau has made so I can give you guys a better situation or a better take on the Jon Favreau filmography and career. So let's see. Jon Favreau, what do you work on? You worked on Dinner for Five? I used to really like that show. I watched it quite a bit on IFC. I watched a lot of weird shows as a kid. I watched stuff that most kids wouldn't find interesting. Chef. Sofia Vergara's hot. Iron Man, love it. Solo, a Star Wars story. I don't know why he's listed. I guess he did a voice or something. Iron Man 2, not that good. Jungle Book. He's doing The Lion King next year. Swingers, Iron Man 3. Couples Retreat. Elf. Yeah, I guess he did direct Elf, right? I Love You, Man. He was a great douchebag in that. Pretty much put it like this. Jon Favreau, the stuff he's been in, I like it. Very Bad Things. I love that movie. And he was in Batman for like 8 nanoseconds. Jon Favreau's the guy that could do it right. I think he's been around long enough to know what to do, what not to do, and not play into his emotion. I feel like if Jon Favreau attacks the fans, then all faith is lost. So there we go. Yeah, he wasn't Chef. I think he directed it too. So Darth Maul died in Star Wars Rebels, huh? So that's gonna. Are they gonna retcon that? Oh, wait, did Obi-Wan Kenobi kill him out in the desert of Tatooine? That'll be interesting if that's what happens. Oh man, we got 1,000 people watching as we're. Ah, man, this is awesome. Thank you to everyone that's been watching the whole time. I can't believe how fast this show goes by. We're near the 2-hour mark, and boom, my morning almost over. So thank you to everyone. I really appreciate everyone who tunes in. You guys really make this a success. And no, I'm not closing it out, so you don't need to click away. I'm not closing the show out at all. But thank you to everyone who's been doing that, because it's a lot of fun. It's a way to do more and not be so, cooped up in my office recording this shit. It's a direct way for you guys. It's the quickest way to talk about entertainment. So thank you to everyone that's doing that. Dead Schooled. Solo's budget is $720 million minimum. Fact, do the math yourself. I have a video. Well, folks, check out Dead Schooled video on that one. And good morning to you too, the Ghost Legend. If that is the case, that it's $720 million, goddamn. It's just God, Kathleen Kennedy really is not that good with money. I claimed, she knows the money. She is the problem. We can't even run around that fact anymore. Jordy54, thank you. Star Wars died when they started into fuel. # moist. You stay # moist, good sir. Yeah, I don't like that the Star Wars situation or the Star Wars story when they're like, we're low on fuel, this and that and the other, because there's so many other stories that did it. I think Rian Johnson is just creatively bankrupt. He is a small man who made a couple things here and there, and they're not very good. I remember liking Looper back in the day. I should rewatch it, but I got to rewatch it with the mindset of, The Last Jedi came after this. I can't read into it that way, but there's that. Nearly midnight for a lot of you guys. Well, thank you for staying up. This is your late night entertainment, world-class bullshitter style. I guess I shouldn't call it a morning show. I should call it, something, so I don't get so I don't cause any brand confusion. We appeal to everyone. We have the world in our name, so there you go. Fanatics of Film, thank you very much. Did you see the Kathleen Kennedy over Porkins vid I made? I sent you a copy. It's on my channel. I did see that. I'm so sorry I haven't responded back to you. I laughed so hard. Thank you for making that. When we get our world-class bullshitters merchandise worked out, I'm going to send you something for doing that, because we asked you for it. I want to work something out with you. So thank you very much here. Also, guys, check that out over at Fanatics of Film. It's very funny. It's a good for a laugh. So there we go. Star Wars is now a dollar store item, and I don't mean pencil cases. You are 100% correct, Trash316. I see them at all the dollar stores. The worst is like the Ollie's that has like the Millennium Falcon for a third of what it costs at retail, when retail still has it next door for full price. Corey Reeve says, $50 say we get a no blood for hyperfuel line. Oh my God. You know what? Don't put anything past them. Don't put anything past them. Yeah, thank you. Let's give a big thanks to Kathleen Kennedy for ruining Star Wars. I know this sounds crazy, but when I was talking earlier in the show about taking all the Rose Tico figures, I'd like to start like a GoFundMe or something like that, buy up all the shitty Star Wars merchandise and just send it back to Lucasfilm. Like, we find a way to put it in a crate and ship it across country to their front door, and all of a sudden there it is. And we just put a note that says, from the fans. And there we go. We want this shit out of our lives. You guys take it. You shoveled it on us. We're giving it right back to you. That's not a crime. We're not harassing. It's just trying to help the retail chains to free up some of the garbage that they've sent out into the world. They're hurting the economy. And I'm being sarcastic at this point with this stuff. But let's get to that. They're not worth it, but you've been collecting figures for 30 years. Yeah, they're not worth it. The old figures, even the vintage line, is better in terms of the new stuff. I know there's a lot of stuff about, the limited articulation with the new figures, but the old stuff had the the ships and stuff to go with it. You know, when you picked up your 3 3/4 inch Han Solo and Chewbacca, you could buy a big Millennium Falcon and go on tons of adventures. When you get your little Rey figure, you have to buy a $150 Millennium Falcon that you can't even put everybody in. Stuff's not well thought out in every aspect of Star Wars. Basil, thank you very much, says, more people must know that Maureen from New Lost in Space is Kathleen Kennedy. She looks and acts exactly the same. It's shocking. I refused to watch that because I heard of all the garbage that goes into that show. I refuse to watch a lot of Netflix original series because I don't like the stuff that they make. Yeah, there's some stuff that they push in it that I don't like Ozark. I fucking hated that show. Like, why should Jason Bateman forgive his wife for cheating on him? I don't like how that's a thing in a lot of modern entertainment. It's like, just get a divorce if you're going to sleep with somebody else. But I don't want to get too much into morality or politics there. But I just don't like the stuff they put into that. It doesn't appeal to me. Jessica Jones gets it in there. At Marvel, I watch it because it's Marvel, but after season 2, I've learned that I can just skip that. And Lost in Space, I liked the original show, and I saw the 98 movie. And I think maybe Rogers is hot, but I'm not a Lost in Space guy. I like the campiness of the old show, and that's probably why I'd watch it. I don't think of Lost in Space as a brand that you can revive. It's not Star Trek that has an infinite number of possibilities. It's Lost in Space. The West 18 Racing gave a super chat of $5 without a message. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, also, here he goes. Another one from him. Thank you. How will they F up the Obi-Wan movie? Ooh, this will be a fun game. How will you fuck up Obi-Wan Kenobi? I don't think they should. I think it would be a bad business decision to mess up Obi-Wan Kenobi because, like I said last week, the official Star Wars Facebook page has been putting episode 1 stuff out there, and people's comments are, I can't believe, I'm happy to see episode 1 or prequels or this and that and the other. Like, just don't fuck that up too, because here's the thing, Disney, fucking up the prequels and the originals won't make your stuff better. It'll just piss everyone off and they'll go away. That's kind of how it works. But to answer your question explicitly, I think they'll give Obi-Wan a love interest. They'll make him a weak guy that needs a woman to do whatever. And I'm fine with having women in these roles, but you don't insert a love interest or something like the Duchess Satine into the Obi-Wan movie because he should be a lonely hermit who has dedicated his life to protect Luke Skywalker and you reclaim the Jedi Order when the time is right. You shouldn't have any other kind of romance or side character. Almost make him unlikable and dedicated to the mission, and then have somebody that's even more vile and more disgusting out there that Obi-Wan faces. Because Obi-Wan is a hermit. He's this old crazy man, that crazy wizard. That stuff that Owen, make Obi-Wan, don't make him lame. Like, don't make him made fun of by the other characters. Make him feared by the other characters. Like, oh, crazy Obi-Wan did this. Have him be this legend. But how to fuck it up is make him a joke. Make him these terrible things. Make him emasculated. Make a robot sidekick talk shit to him. All this dumb crap. Like, it'll be a stupid trick if they put a robot sidekick in the movie. Like, that's a anthology thing they need to cut out. It worked with K2SO, not L337. So yeah, ARC Trooper, the price increase in Legos is ridiculous. And real quick for the record, I don't talk about Lego Star Wars stuff on our videos because I'm not as well versed in Legos. I honestly own 3 or 4 Lego sets my entire life. I own the Back to the Future Brickheads. I own the DeLorean. I own a Batman set that was given to me as a gift, and I bought the Spider-Man 1 movie set, the lab. So I don't dislike Lego, but I don't talk about it because I know about Star Wars distribution. I know about that stuff. The most Lego knowledge I have came from the Toys That Made Us over on Netflix, which I thought was fantastic. So if you never hear me talk about Legos, I can't give you dates when Lego shit came out or when the wave and all that stuff. I can give you that with the Hasbro stuff, and that's why I always talk about it because I'm knowledgeable in that, and I can say, like, this has been in the store for 3 years. This is the date it was released. I guarantee it. And they put out new waves. They don't keep recycling certain things. I know that stuff because I follow it. I follow these websites because I used to buy this shit hardcore. Like, if it was stuff I wanted, I was out there looking for it. So that's why I cover it on the channel. The Legos are cool. I just don't know as much about them. So to Lego collectors out there, if you're always wondering why we don't cover Lego, there's your answer. And I apologize that you're not finding that, but it seems like Lego sells no matter what. So there you go. What I think about Daredevil? Well, Net Cyber, Daredevil is one of my favorite Marvel characters. And I think that it was a fantastic show, especially the first and second. Well, obviously, the first and second season, that's all that exists. But I liked them both. I think I like the second season more because I'm one of those people, like, I like the hero in their costume. Spider-Man 1 is great, but I like Spider-Man 2 more because it starts with him as Spider-Man. I like the journey to become the hero is fine, but once I see it one time, I don't want to see it again. I get it. I get the gist. I've been on that journey. Let me see where they take the character. And I can't wait for season 3 because after the Defenders, he he's in the hospital with the nurses and his mother's going to pop up and all that stuff. There's so much potential with that character. And I think the guy that plays Daredevil is the perfect choice. He's kind of quiet in terms of like the media. You don't hear him going out spouting off the hip or spouting off the mouth about some bullshit. He plays Daredevil. I don't really see him in other things. He's great. He keeps the physicality up for the role. He keeps his shape up. He's just great. I like Charlie Cox is his name. I like him. I bought his Daredevil figure in the suit. I like the suit. I like everything about that show. I'm excited for more. Like I'm gonna watch Luke Cage in a couple of days, but in the back of my mind, it's like I'm waiting for fucking Daredevil. Daredevil is my second favorite Marvel character. Maybe, well, yeah, Wolverine's been a close contender for quite a while, but nobody will be better than Spider-Man. Let's see. If Lando gets killed, I'm going to throw rocks at Lucasfilm's headquarters. Don't throw rocks. Just send him every Rose Tico figure ever. It'll hurt them emotionally. Yeah, the Defenders was so meh. I just thought... Hey, real quick, Basil, that message you sent about Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, that's a fantastic assessment. I'm not... Because I agree with you, I'm not saying that you're, it's perfect, but I really do agree with this one, and I'm excited to see someone else think of Batman Begins as such a good Batman movie. I can't wait till we do our watch parties for the Batman saga. I'm going to say saga because we're going to do them all. I don't know if we're going to do them all in a row. We might switch around and do shit like that, but I really want to do from Adam West through BVS. BVS sucks. God, I hate that movie. I tried watching it over the weekend. Turned it on at cable at Phil's house, and it was literally the Martha scene. So we watched the Martha scene and then turned it off for a joke. But I think Batman Begins is a 9.5. The Dark Knight, very good movie, an 8. And Dark Knight Rises, I guess I'd give it a little higher than a 6. I would say maybe a 7.5 or a 7. A 7. I like it. I like The Dark Knight. I think Christian Bale's a great Batman, or was a great Bruce Wayne, a fine Batman. Heath Ledger was fine, is a really good Joker. Tom Hardy was a good enough Bane. I don't know. The hype of those movies killed the interest for me in The Dark Knight, and I think Batman Begins doesn't get the praise it deserves because I think it has a really good, hopeful ending, a really awesome ending. Like, every time I say I'll look into it, like, if you ever get a message from me on the channel that says I'll look into it, imagine Batman saying that to Commissioner Gordon at the end of the movie. When he hands him the card, I'll look into it. When you say that and I say that, that's just what I say. I just love that movie. So it's nice to see someone else go on about that. BVS had the best Batman fight scene, though. I'll give it that. Kigo Bricks. Let's see. If you're talking about the scene in the warehouse to save Martha, that is a very cool scene visually. I can't... Again, these are all opinions. So, like, if I disagree with you, I'm not saying you're wrong because you can't be wrong on an opinion like that. If you don't have the facts... If something is based on facts, like in my opinion... The Last Jedi is more successful than The Force Awakens. That's really not really an opinion. That's just a wrong fact. It made less money. We have those numbers. So when I'm talking about your Batman fight, I disagree. I'm not saying it's not a good... It's your opinion. You can't, I can't fault you on that one. If you're talking about the one in the warehouse, it is cool. I like it. I think it's very reminiscent of the Arkham games, which is fun. I will still go with the tower, the bell tower from the first Batman as the best fight because... That whole scene from the bat plane crashing to the end of the movie, it's one long continuous action scene, and I love it. And I love how, it starts with the interplay of the Joker and Batman. Joker goes up slowly and Batman goes up slower, and he barely avoids the bell. And then he gets up there and he sneaks behind and he has to fight the Joker goons. And then, it finally gets to the showdown between the Joker, and it shows you how weak the Joker truly is. And, wouldn't hit a guy with glasses and all that shit. And it builds. And it's not necessarily about the most hard-hitting, fast-paced action, but it has that too. And it has that really classic score going with it. It's just a lot of elements, and it's easier to follow than the BVS fight scene. Exdolic, thank you very much. Rose Tico saves the Jedi in episode 9. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, if Rose Tico saves the day, and then she looks to the camera and says something about love. Like, this is how you save the galaxy with love. And everyone just rolls their eyes, men and women alike. Children throw their popcorn. They say, I'm done with Star Wars forever. And people just boo Kelly Marie Tran in the streets. I'm not advocating people booing. Actually, don't even, if you see her in the street, don't even talk to her. Just, look at the ground or something. But boo the character. Like, you can have the most vocal opinion about the character you want. They can't say it's anything but your taste and opinion and entertainment. So let's just remember that the character Rose Tico is hot shit. And if she saves the Jedi in episode 9, I may go into diabetic shock. And I'm not even a diabetic. I just, boom, all the sugar in my body either is wiped out or it all is produced and I'm done. So Rose Tico might kill me. Dungeon says, that's what I dislike about the Nolan Batman's films. The fight scenes are hard to follow. They are hard to follow. I do not like a lot of that quick cutting. I think that is a product of the era. You have the Bourne Identity. You have the early Daniel Craig Batman or James Bond films, and you have the Batman movies from that era. From 2002 to like 2010, that is a very hard to follow, quick cut, choppy fight scene action. They consider that very cool and it was modern. That didn't hold up. That's what a lot of people fail to realize when they look at certain stylistic choices. Sometimes they don't hold up. Now, look at Star Wars. That editing for Star Wars is very frenetic, fast-paced, and new at the time, and that works because it keeps the pacing of the film fresh, and you never get bored. But you know what's going on screen. When you make shit obscured, and it's not for suspense, it doesn't work. Like John Carpenter with Halloween. What you don't see is as scary as what you do see. It's actually scarier when you don't see it. And then when there's the final reveal of Michael Myers' face at the end, when, Laurie's hiding by the closet and he slowly comes into frame. Awesome and scary, and it works. When you can't see shit and you're like, what's happening? That's not good. That is not good filmmaking. NetCyber says, one thing I'll give Batfleck, they made him look huge, like someone who could actually crush your head with his thighs. Correct. They did make him look big. Ben Affleck did gain muscle for the role. Christian Bale did too. So we got to give them both credit. But the bat suit looked too cumbersome. Like, one thing I don't think a lot of people remember, or, well, I'm not saying a lot of people don't remember, but Batman was kind of I'm not saying he was a thin guy ever, but when he was drawn by Neil Adams through the early 90s, well, we'll take the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns out of that because that's an Elseworld story. But Batman was a muscular but agile character. He was buff and muscularly defined, but he wasn't bulky. And I think because Zack Snyder has his head up his ass and he's like a teenage boy, he's like dark and grim and depressing, it's the best. He jumped to that style of Batman. And I'm not saying that style of Batman is wrong or bad, because he does look like he could kick your ass, but he looks really slow. So Batman should be a nice combination of both. Like, he looks like he should look like he could glide on his suit or his cape, but that Batman looks like he's made of lead. He just sinks to the bottom every 5 minutes. John Hamm for Batman, that would have looked awesome. The Batman suit looked too big. I never liked Batman Returns suit. The Batman, I love the first Michael Keaton suit. I'll give you that the suit around his face looked too big because they didn't have it tailored right, but that's kind of cool, I think. And I don't like Batman Returns at all. That's just my opinion. Wow. Big super chat from the Fanatics of Film. Thank you very much. Forgive me, last plug on the Kennedy over Porkins video. The world-class bullshitters ESB watch party. Porkins says everything is fine or going down in flames. We have found KK's true muse. The episode is the franchise. What a blast. Dude, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And, plug away. Everyone go check out this video. It really is funny. It was just a thing that we said drinking and made a joke about, and the Fanatics of Film went out and made it happen. So thank you very much to Fanatics of Film. You're one of us in spirit, and we greatly appreciate it. But think about what that says. Everything is fine while going down in flames. The Kathleen Kennedy story. Like that, I'm going to use that as a title for a video, and I'm going to also write a book on it. That would be just such a depressing situation. I'll write a book out of our videos, the Kathleen Kennedy situation going down in flames. But realistically, everything's not fine. We have numbers to prove it. It's not like it's just this court of opinion that people are calling Star Wars to test because they dislike it. People out there, Toys R Us is not closing because of Star Wars, but it ain't helping either. Like, clogging your merchandise chain for 3 years is not good for anybody. I mean, please tell me how that's a good idea to have these stores filled to the brim with Star Wars toys that don't move, and they're overpriced and they don't appeal to the kids, but yet you shit on the audience who they're made for. So I don't get it. I don't get why they think everything's fine. I don't see how they think everything is fine. It's such a funny / depressing story that that's what Star Wars Legacy is going to be if they don't right the ship right now. Episode 9 has not started production, people. Let's not forget that. JJ, Kathleen Kennedy, all the people in the story group, stop worrying about the shit that you think is going to be great and lick your finger and see which way the wind's blowing, because it's not blowing in your favor. It's blowing against you. You're going to fall down. It's like pissing in the wind. It's going to get back on you. You've pissed on the fans long enough. We're not going to take it. So this force is going to push back, and it's going to make sure that your Star Wars isn't the thing that is remembered. They can't control history. They can't take away the millions of Star Wars products that had the old status quo. They can't take back what we love. They can't take back our memories. Maybe this modern Star Wars, how shitty it is, will just strengthen our old memories and make them better and bring people closer together while shunning what they keep forcing on us. And yes, Blippity Bloop, thank you for all you've done, and I will send you a message when I know about this week. As we close this out, I don't know much about Mike Zero. I don't really watch a lot of speculation channels. I'm not saying that he's a bad channel at all, but what I am saying is I don't watch him. I don't really trust sources that don't have, sources. It's not necessarily something that I'm into. We kind of cover stuff, and we have footage of stuff. I don't just sit here with a blank screen and say, Star Wars toys aren't selling, believe me. There we go. I go across the state. I go across state lines. I do all kinds of shit. So there's that. Yeah, Mike Zero is clickbait. So, folks, we've hit 10 o'clock, which means we're going to close this episode out. So if you have anything else to say it now. Or if not, just wait until tomorrow, because I'll be back at 7:45 like I was today. So I'd like to thank everyone that has made this show possible. And you know what? You guys have proven through your viewership, super chats, everything, that everyone loves this show. So I'm going to go out and get a phone, and we can do a call-in segment each week. So if you guys enjoyed this, let me know. Make sure you thumbs it up. Make sure you share it, and watch these every morning. I'll do my best to keep them fresh and fun and exciting. If you guys show up, I'll show up. You know what? I'll always show up. There's tons of people out there that want to watch this. And yeah, I did see the E3 SJW Fest. The cringe was extreme. Darken de la Espada. I don't even get involved with people like that. The IGN people are just trash. Fanatics of Film, High Council tonight, right? Yes. Just for the one more time for the record, the High Council will be on Ethan's channel, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. The High Council convenes every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's at 8 p.m. Central and 6 p.m. over on the East Coast. So, guys, check it out. It'll be there next week. It's going to be here on World Class Bullshitters, my channel. I got a guest lined up. Some people have guessed right in the comments section, so be prepared for that. But it's not Cecil. It's not a joke. It is straight up a guest that everyone wants to see. So I expect you guys to show up in huge numbers. If you got to stay up late, you got to stay up late, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. If you got to call off from work the next day, make sure you have a reason to call off work. But if we just so happen to be going live that night, they're going to be up late. So, folks, oh, no, it is not Dustin, and I wish it was Red Letter Media. You know what, folks? If you guys want to just keep throwing Red Letter Media out there and send them messages, hey, you should be on World Class Bullshitters, High Council, and all this shit, I'd love to have, Mike and Jay on. Yeah, I'd love that, Mike and Jay. There's also We Watched the Movie, and their names are Mike and Jay. I'm a big fan of them. They live kind of close to me. People are asking for a crossover for that. That'd be awesome. Mahler, I've had Mahler on the channel many a times. Like I said, Mahler only appears on daytime streams because he's 5 hours ahead, so it'd be kind of hard to have him on a Tuesday night at like 2 or 3 in the morning. So with respect to Mahler, he'll be on weekend shows or later in the day shows, or earlier in the day shows here in the US, so we can make it work for him. So Mr. Plinkett versus Cecil would be incredible. Guys, if it was Red Letter Media, I would just tell you flat out and give you like 2 or 3 weeks hype. Like, Red Letter Media is coming. Red Letter Media is coming. We would just have that happen. But if you wanted, you tell them that World Class Bullshitters wants to have Red Letter Media on. So it's going to happen one of these days. They can't deny us forever. We're growing too big. So when our numbers are outpacing them, then they'll definitely take notice. But until then, we're going to keep the the line of communication open. They're always welcome here. I'd love to talk about the Plinkett Star Wars reviews as well as other things, and I'll treat it like a real interview, and we'll sit down with them and we'll have a lot of fun. Yes, Laura, Quizmaster, they are responsible. And here's the thing. When I have people on the show, I'm not going to kiss their ass for 2 hours. I just have legitimate questions for these guys. I'm not going to shit on them because I don't really dislike them at all, but I do have some hard-hitting questions that I'd like to ask them. So we can get into that, but if you guys can get them on the show, that'd be awesome. Pat from Please Rewind. Well, Pat has been watching our live streams and getting involved in the chat. So Pat, if you guys can have Pat message us, worldclassbs@mail.com, bestmail.com, we can get him on too. Like I said, everyone's welcome here on World Class Bullshitters. So I'm going to close this stream out. Thank you for everyone. And yeah, you're right. Cecil isn't good at improv during live streams, but maybe Cecil isn't doing improv. We'll leave it at that. So make sure you tune into the High Council and make sure you come back here tomorrow, same time, same channel, for the morning show. That's not really a morning show to the rest of the world. So I'll talk to you guys in just a few short hours, and be on the lookout for my video that's coming out relatively soon. And thank you one more time.